Part 46. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 456. As a younger sister, Sakaki Harasuzu has no idea whether something is really wrong with her brother. But I just can't bear my curiosity. Besides, since I talked about this matter yesterday afternoon, Sister Liulai and Sister Kyo seem to have discovered something, and they have been mumbling behind their backs. This kind of behavior can only be described as abominable. Why don't you bring me along when discussing things? Do you know how much effort I have put in and how much brain power I have spent on the relationship between you and me? So, when she returned home after get off work, she found Tianhai Julie Yulai and Tianhai Kaimingyu who were still sitting in their room playing games. Tianhai Kaimingyu turned her smile on her face and said, "Why do you still care about this matter?" I saw Keiki Harasuzu paused for a moment, then laughed again. "I'm curious." Tianhai Kaimingyu withdrew her gaze, held the handle, and controlled the movement of the game character on the TV. "What's the point of being curious about this? Will you be able to be a good idol in peace and quiet soon? I remember that you will have a concert soon. Coming." Tianhai Julie Yulai on the other side also poked his head out, nodded and persuaded, "Yes, yes, yes, Aling, please don't ask. It would be very embarrassing for me and Kyo to talk about this kind of thing." Awkward. This kind of thing is embarrassing. It was rare for Suzu Sakakihara to think about it. She thought that if Sister Liulai and Sister Kyo both found this matter embarrassing, it meant that there was a high probability that something was wrong with him. If he really has a problem, will the two of them be willing to let his brother have a problem? You still need to ask? Definitely not. Sakaki Harasuzu suddenly understood, pointed at the two people, and immediately expressed her speculation. "So Sister Liulai and Sister Kyo, you were discussing behind my back all day yesterday. Weren't you discussing how to cure my brother?" Dot. Dot. Both sisters fell silent. Sakaki Harasuzu was very pleased with herself because she guessed what the two discussed. She yawned and said, "It seems I guessed it right. I knew something must be wrong with him after such a long time. So, how are the sisters going to solve my brother's problem?" Sakaki Harasuzu is curious, very curious. She really wanted to know how the two Tianhai women would deal with this matter. "What does it have to do with you, Sister Chan? But it's a pity that the woman from the Tianhai family obviously doesn't want her to know." Sakaki Harasuzu almost became anxious. Why is it none of my business?" Tianhai Kaimingyu sighed and said, "Is it not a good thing for you that he is so focused on work and does not focus on us? Then Sister Kyo, you must underestimate me. How can I be the person who denies my lifelong happiness just because of this kind of petty profit? I am my best sister, but I hope he can live happily every day. My heart is broken. And this is considered sick. Sick. I also have the obligation to care about whether you are okay or not." Dot. Tianhai Kaimingyu was speechless. She turned back to look at her sister and found that Tianhai Julie Yulai also looked helpless against her. Sakaki Harasuzu, who was avoiding her eyes, looked at them both. "Don't you already have a method?" Dot. "What is it?" Dot. "What is it? What is it?" Sakaki Harasuzu got closer and closer, but Amamai Nanamayu didn't understand that she was so excited just to see herself and her sister embarrassed. She reached out and pushed Sakaki Harasuzu's face away in disgust, and said calmly, "In this matter, my sister and I have an 80% probability of being sure that something is wrong with someone. But just in case, we still have to verify it." "How do you two sisters verify this?" Sakaki Harasuzu smiled even more. Dot. Tianhai Kaimingyu was quiet at first, and then said, "Let my sister seduce her." What? Tianhai Julie Yulai immediately pressed the pause button of the game in his hand, blushed and glared at his sister. What are you talking about in Kia? And why should I go instead of you in Kia? Tian Hai Kaimingyu replied calmly, because I thought in advance that my sister would be jealous because of this, I just asked her to dress up nicely. If I go over, you won't be jealous in Kia, Tian Hai Julie Yulai was puzzled. Well, don't worry, sister, I won't do it. You lied to your sister, right? Tian Hai Julie Yulai was angry, put down the controller and pinched her sister's face. I didn't lie to my sister. Tian Hai Kaimingyu's voice was slightly distorted by her sister, but she still looked expressionless. She pulled a cardboard box out from under the bed behind her. Sakaki Harasuzu blinked, what is this? Amamai Kuruori stopped moving and saw Sakaki Barasuzu reaching out to pick up a piece of clothing. The clothes were not so much clothes as the blue patent leather V-shaped tights worn on the upper body. Not only did the neckline have a large slit, but the chest protector was also very low. As long as she puts it on, she is sure that the entire area from the collarbone to the neck will be completely exposed. This was not over yet. After picking up this piece of clothing with her right hand, Sakaki Harasuzu was very curious and picked up 3 other things with her left hand. Bunny ears, white pantyhose, and a collar with a tie. Tian Hai Julie Yulai's eyes widened so much that he almost stopped breathing. No matter how much she doesn't understand these things, no matter how pure she is, can she still not understand what this is? Isn't this, bunny girl? July. Tian Hai Julie Yulai almost hugged her sister's cheek, and her delicate face stared straight at her sister's face with shame and anger. When did you buy this dress? Table sky, indistinct, dot. When was it yesterday? After the meal. Ah. Why did you buy this kind of clothes? Very good. Sakaki Harasuzu curiously carried the clothes in the cardboard box and felt that the bunny girl's clothes looked familiar. Blue bunny ears, blue top, and white pantyhose. Oh, and there is a sky blue bow tie inside. Sister Kyo, where did you buy these clothes? Could it be that you went to that kind of store? Tian Hai Kaimingyu, who was let go by her sister, finally got a chance to rest. After taking a rest, she replied. I don't know what kind of store you are talking about. But I bought this dress in a COS store in Akihabara. At that time, I felt that this dress suited my sister very well, so I bought it. COS store? That place only sells costumes of anime characters. I remembered, Asuka Toki. Tian Hai Julie Yulai was puzzled, what? Nothing, I just said that the outfit Sister Kyo bought is from an anime. In fact, it's not really an anime, it's a character in a game. As Suzu Sakaki Haru spoke, she took out her mobile phone and searched for pictures on the internet. After finding it, put the picture of that character in front of Tian Hai Julie Yulai and show it to her. No, this is the role. Tian Hai Julie Yulai looked at it curiously. She had blonde hair, blue eyes, and a small face. Fortunately, she was wearing the same bunny girl costume as the one in the cardboard box. She was holding a white box in her hand. She looked at the screen and looked at her legs in the picture. Very long, the figure and temperament can be described as upright and dignified. What should I say? Just like a maid in a noble family, the kind of person who can do whatever is forbidden. But he is such a serious person, but he is wearing such a set of clothes that looks extremely shameful. Do all boys like this nowadays? Hey, don't you look very similar to Sister Lee Yulai? Sakaki Harasuzu's head poked out from the other end of the phone. I also know the voice actor for this character. Tian Hai Julie Yulai stared at the eyes of the characters carefully and said in surprise, rather than looking like me, it's more like Chi-Chi, especially this look, they are exactly the same. Tian Hai Chi Minjiao, with a cold face, crossed her arms and said, I bought these clothes for my sister, and I only bought this set. Wear it in July. Sister wears it. Wear it in July. Sister wears it. Forget it in July, I will wear what I wear. You agree now, Tian Hai Kaiming felt a little unbelievable. Anyway, I'm going to find Lejun tonight, and you can't see me. Tian Hai Juli Yulai was still a little arrogant when he said this. Of course, this pride only lasted for a while. When Tian Hai Juli Yulai thought that she had to wear such shameful clothes, she immediately hesitated. Really want to wear it? No one else is home. It's not good to be seen by you either. It's fine. Sakaki Harasuzu wanted to laugh so much. If Julie Yulai and Chi Minjia weren't still in her room, she would have fallen on the bed and laughed. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Sister Li Yulai, sister, actually want to find her brother like this. Is that really good? What should I do if my brother is fine? Then there's no way to escape. Can't laugh, can't laugh. This is an extremely important matter, related to someone's future happy life. You must not laugh. But poof haha. Still want to laugh. Sister Chan, go to Zyuki's room tonight. Sakaki Harasuzu was dumbfounded for a moment. What do you mean? Tian Hai Kaiming raised a hand and said matter-of-factly, after all, Sister Chan, you don't want to hear some bad news. Sakaki Harasuzu wanted to refute immediately, but after thinking for a long time, she couldn't think of anything she could refute. Nanamai half closed her eyes and stared at Sakaki Harasuzu, or, Sister Chan wants to eavesdrop dash. No. Don't think nonsense. I'm not interested in your nonsense. I'm reminding you for the sake of my brother's condition. Just go find Zhigzu. I'll find her to play games, please. Asterisk. Et. As soon as he returned to the office, Sakaki Hara frowned and placed one hand on the desk full of files. The companies requesting investment are coming one after another, and after reviewing each one, two can come. This month, I haven't had much fun during the summer vacation, and all my energy is focused on the companies in July. The old man also became interested when he heard that he had recently been working as an errand at Chi Minjia's foundation. He also specially sent people to assist him in his work. It's called collaboration, but it's actually because the old man wanted to see how he would perform in real work. What to say now? Pretty good job. At least some of the companies he passed through were reviewed by the Tian Hai family and felt that they were worth investing money in. This is a capital flow of tens of millions of yen, and the highest one has already exceeded 100 million yen. When he thinks that he can sit in this position at his current age, Sakaki Hararaku feels that reality is quite fantastic. It is difficult for many ordinary people to save so much money in a lifetime, but he just nodded and walked out with a wave of his hand. Or do you mean that children of chaebols have been like this since childhood? Boom boom. There was a knock on the office door. Raku Sakakibara, who was sitting directly above, pinched his eyebrows and said, "Please come in." A young man with a well-dressed appearance and an upright face walked in. "Young master," he shouted to himself very respectfully. This man's name is Jun Si Dun. His name sounds like a Chinese, but he is indeed a real Japanese. Different from the superiors and subordinates in ordinary workplaces, Sakaki Hararaku feels that he has a master-servant relationship with him. Even if he calls him by his name, he still looks respectful like an old aristocrat. His expression was not stiff, but his movements were typical of a butler's strictness. He held a document bag and placed it in front of Sakakibara Raku. Sakakibara didn't need to look at it to know that another company had sent investment information to this mailbox. With a work attitude, Sakaki Hararaku took it out and took a rough look. It was a toy factory whose capital chain was broken. If funds could be provided, they could release more shares. There are many companies that are suddenly short of money recently. After reviewing it with a frown for half an hour, Sakaki Hara put down the document angrily, closed his eyes, and pressed his temples. "Let's go see it tomorrow morning." As soon as he opened his eyes, the young assistant sent by the old man brought him a cup of coffee. That's quite considerate. Was this taught by the old man's subordinates? But these are not important anymore. What is important is that I can finally get off work today. Sakakibara looked at the time on his watch. It was already close to 9 o'clock in the evening. Then we'll end here today, as usual. County Secretary Dunn nodded respectfully. Okay. It's fine if I drive myself. 20 minutes later, Sakaki Hararaku was driven back to his home by his assistant. He didn't think anything of this person. The old man just asked him to help him and provide some information to the old man. But how can I put it? I'm perfect at work, but in life I still feel a little uncomfortable when I'm with such a rigid person. I was thinking about all these things. Sakakibara returned home, looking tired. Lejun came home so late today again. Tianhaijuli Yulai heard the sound of opening the door and came out to greet him. Humraku Sakakihara responded with a yawn, I really don't know how Chi-Chi usually handles it. There are so many things, why don't you delegate power to your subordinates appropriately? Perhaps Chi-Kia wants to hold the accurate information in his hands more. Let's not talk about this. Lejun, come and eat. I'll heat it up for you in advance. Oh? That's okay. After a tiring day, it feels good to come home and have someone prepare a meal. Chi-Chi was in the room, Aling was in her room, and Ji Shui ran out to play basketball again. While listening to Amamai Kuriyuri talking about today's events across the way, Sakaki Hararaku ate his meal in a state of exhaustion. After eating, I took a shower with my eyes half closed. When Sakakibara returned to his room, it was already 11 o'clock at night. I thought I could sleep peacefully at this time, but I went to the toy factory for inspection tomorrow, but I didn't expect that I hadn't laid down for a while. The bedroom door was pushed open. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 457. Chapter 452 Li Yulai can't do it alone. What if you add colored glaze in July? What are you doing hiding, sister? Tian Hai Kaimingyu just walked in from the door. As soon as she came in, she saw Tian Hai Juli Yulai huddled behind the curtain. How about you do it in July? Tian Hai Juli Yulai, who only stuck out her head, looked a little timid, and there were bent rabbit ears on her head. Why? It's time for this. But. Didn't my sister vow to say, I will wear what I wear this afternoon? Yes. Sakakibara Suzu, who snuck in behind her, didn't mind seeing the excitement and smiled, and Sister Li Yulai, your bunny ears are so cute. The rest of it must be cute too. Yeah, Amamizuki was just curious about what everyone was doing. Just now Sakaki Harasuzu insisted on pulling her over to see Sister Li Yulai wearing new clothes. Tianhai Juli Yulai blushed and said, then, shall I come out and give it a try? Yes. Sister Li Yulai, come out quickly. Tianhai Juli Yulai held the curtains, lowered his eyes and hesitated for a few seconds, then moved slightly and stood in front of everyone. 1. Bunny girl. Sakaki Harasuzu immediately rubbed her eyes to make sure she could see clearly. Wearing bright blue high heels on her feet. Wrapping her slender legs are white knee-high socks that faintly reveal the color of her skin. The blue tights not only emphasize the slenderness of the body, but also highlight the uneven body curves. One of the bunny ears on the head bends down and the other stands up. With high heels, my height is about 174 centimeters. So high. This was Sakaki Harasuzu's first thought. She had to raise her head slightly to look at it now. With her hands clasped together, her long flaxen hair spread behind her, her slightly restrained appearance combined with the absolute beauty inherent in Sister Li Yulai. And these long legs wearing white knee socks. So awesome. Sakakihara Suzu felt like she was about to have a nosebleed. In addition, the blue bow on Sister Liuli's neck, the exposed collarbone, and the unconstrained plump breasts. No, I'm really going to have a nosebleed. Sakakibara Suzu took the opportunity to hide behind Amami Nazuki and pinched her nose to slow down. Amami Nanami Mingzuki carefully looked at her sister's outfit and said with some curiosity, "This dress really makes your legs look longer. Sister, let me touch it first to see how it feels." Tianhai Julie Yulai, who had just come out, was frightened back by her younger sister. Her high heels clicked loudly. She hid behind the curtain and said with shame and annoyance, "What nonsense are you talking about? I wore this dress to verify what happened to Lejun. You two, please don't do anything." She felt that the two of them could not be trusted at all, so she directly asked Tianhai's Higsu, "Yuki, do you think the clothes my sister wore just now are pretty good?" "It's very beautiful." Tianhai's Higsu nodded honestly and quietly, "It's just what Sister Liulai said about Le." Tianhai Kaimingyu directly intervened and explained, "It's just that your sister Liulai wants to give someone a reward. The clothes are the reward. To a certain extent, it is." Tianhai Chi Minjiu didn't want to wait any longer, walked up to her sister, grabbed her wrist, and immediately pulled her out of the bedroom. Then, the two came to the door of Sakakihara Raku's room. Tianhai Julie Yulai glanced at the door, then at his sister, and muttered, "Why do I always feel that you sold me out in July? This is what my sister said she would do." "Sister, don't think so much, just go in. Is Lejun awake? I'm afraid he will see me wearing this outfit. Aren't these clothes just for him? It would be better if you didn't sleep. I want to tell him that if he goes to sleep, I'll ask him to get up again to see if I can still be mentally prepared." Tianhai Kaimingyu, Angzan, sister, don't put a psychological burden on yourself. Still, it still doesn't work. How about you wear this outfit in July? Tianhai Kaimingyu immediately changed the topic, "Sister, have you noticed that someone is very tired when you come back?" "Ah, I'm very tired. What's wrong?" "So, he is most likely to fall asleep at this moment, so sister, don't worry. But why do I feel like you don't want to wear these clothes in Kyo and are deliberately avoiding my question?" "Not at all. Don't you, sister, not want to be favored by your Lejun? Sister, think about it, he hasn't slept with you for so long. If you don't take the initiative, sister, aren't you afraid that he won't love you anymore?" When her sister said this, Tianhai Julie Yulai did hesitate. Seeing her sister's expression, Tianhai Kaimingyu immediately added, Okay, sister, come in quickly. I will cheer for you from behind. If anything happens, I will restrain Suzuki and Zayuki from eavesdropping." I waited for about 5 minutes. Tianhaiju really made all kinds of psychological struggles, ignoring Sakakibara Suzu who was holding the door behind and still laughing secretly. Finally, Sakakihara Raku didn't bother to knock on the bedroom door. He mustered up the courage to push the door open and walked in on the bunny girl's high heels. "Lele-kun." However, what Amami Kurayuri didn't expect was that Sakakibara Raku was not resting at all. He was still working. He was sitting in front of the computer, reviewing some company documents. After he discovered his existence, he was obviously stagnant for a long time. One by the door and one at the work table next to the bed. The two of them just looked at each other in this room. After being quiet for a long time, Sakakihara Raku reacted first. He examined Amami Kurayuri's clothes with a normal gaze. "What kind of costume is this? Just got back from the nightclub. Bunny girl? Don't misunderstand." Tianhai Julie Yulai stretched out his hand and shook it in a panic to explain, "I am wearing these clothes just for." "For what?" "For Tianhaijuli Yulai couldn't answer. Could she say that she wore the clothes she did because Chikio said you were no longer good at that? Cannot say. This certainly cannot be said. She also knows that boys are most taboo about talking about this kind of thing. Amamikururi anxiously thought about her excuses, and finally remembered the role that Sakeki Harasuzu had mentioned in the afternoon. Because Chi-Chi said that she particularly likes the anime character wearing this costume, but she doesn't dare to wear it herself, so she used me as a test subject. Sakakibara took his hands off the keyboard of his laptop, turned his chair, and looked at the sky blue bunny girl in front of him. Did you buy this dress in July? Yeah, Tianhaijuli Yulai nodded vigorously, waving his rabbit ears and folding his hands in front of his belly. Because Kyo didn't dare to wear it, she used you as a test subject, and after Yulai put it on, she wanted me to take a look. Is that right? Raku Sakeki Hara speculated. Yes, Tianhaijuli Yulai seemed to have grasped a life-saving straw, nodding harder, her cheeks slightly red. I don't know why Chi-Chi suddenly bought this outfit, and insisted that I wear something that is more suitable for her. Don't say that. Well, Luli looks good in her clothes, and the bunny girl Luli is quite cute. Real. Then it's still fake. I noticed that Yulai, you always like to ask me if it's true. How could I? Wait a minute. Sakakibara laughed and praised. But at this time, the computer suddenly received an email, and the sound of the arrival made him quickly turn around to check it. Not even a few seconds later, Sakeki Hara picked up the phone again and compared it with the phone in the email to make a call. He dialed the phone and smiled at Tianhaijuli Yulai, who was standing at the door of the room. I'll take a call first. It's about the toy factory I'm going to tomorrow. Then, he walked out of the bedroom and made a phone call. Made a phone call. The call went. Telephone. Talk. The Tianhai 9 glaze petrified on the spot. Does this mean he thinks he is cute and good looking? Why did she come to see him wearing these clothes? There was no special reaction at all. Amamikuriyuri didn't believe in evil and kept smiling, waiting for Sakakibara Raku to finish the call. 15 minutes later. He just came back from the balcony. The smile on Tianhaijuli Yulai's face hardened. Yulai, why haven't you gone to bed yet? He looked at his phone thoughtfully. It's already 30 in the morning. Going to bed late will damage your skin. Don't tire yourself out so much during the summer vacation. Lelajun Tianhaijuli Yulai has a particularly generous smile. Want to sleep together. Upon hearing this, Tianhaijuli Yulai immediately returned to normal and returned to her usual gentle and virtuous wife state. She smiled sweetly and said, it seems that Lejun is not too busy and has lost his head. Sakakibara shook his head. Sorry, there have been too many things going on in this company in July recently. I didn't need to worry about it so much. But did you know, Yulai? The toy factory that asked us to invest this afternoon turned out to be Alita. Alita, do you know? The bunny girl's Tianhaijuli kept smiling. Sakakibara lowered his head and muttered, after all, we have monopolized the entire children's toy market in Tokyo with two other toy manufacturers. Although they are younger than the other two toy manufacturers, they are now so short of funds that they came to us for investment. Recently, what's happening in this market? The bunny girl's Tianhaijuli Yulai continued to smile. Sakakibara continued to mutter, there must be something special happening when the funds are cut off. If we don't find out this matter, even Alita won't dare to inject capital rashly. Sure enough, I have to go and check it out early tomorrow. Let's see what's going on. The bunny girl's Tianhaijuli Yulai was still smiling. If the other party hides it carefully, you have to get some information from the old man. But this will do. Sakeki Hararaku finally noticed the expression on Amamikuriyuri's face, and he smiled softly. Ruriyuri must be sleepy now, so let's go to sleep now. No problem Tianhaijuli Yulai breathed a sigh of relief. She thought to herself that Lejun was focused on work, but he wasn't so disinterested in her. Fine. Lejun is still very normal. Amamai Kuruori was pulled onto the bed by Sakakibara Raku, and only the bedside lamp was on in the bedroom. The moonlight cannot penetrate the thin curtains, and the yellow light looks a bit ambiguous. Amamai Kuruori was already a little restless because Sakakibara Raku had already come closer. She was vaguely looking forward to it. She wanted to close her eyes and wait for the kiss. After all, I haven't been kissed for a long time. However, just when she closed her eyes and waited for someone to come over, the one who came first was a question. Li Yulai, why don't you take off your clothes? Huh, Tianhaijulai opened his eyes and saw Sakakihara Le already lying on the bed. Sakakihara closed his eyes and yawned, looking very sleepy. It just so happens that I have to get up early tomorrow to inspect. It would be better to go and check out that toy factory earlier. After all, we are not the only investment companies that people have submitted, so we have more opportunities if we go early. As Sakakibara spoke, he covered himself with a thin quilt, closed his eyes, and muttered, "Turn off the lights after changing your clothes, go to bed early, and good night." I stared blankly at Sakakibara Raku's face with his eyes closed. Less than 2 minutes later, I heard his gentle breathing as he fell asleep. Tianhaijuli Yulai fell into endless chaos. Asterisk. Ha ha ha. Brother. He actually fell asleep like that? And then the next day, he really got up early and went to work. Ha ha ha. I was laughing so hard, ha ha ha. Early the next morning, in Sakakihara Suzu's room, the sun was shining brightly on a hot summer day. When Sakakihara Suzu heard about Amamai Kuruori's experience last night, she laughed so much that she rolled on the bed. Even dying. No, I don't even want to go to my class. It's too funny. Hearing Sakakibara Suzu's laughing voice, the shocked Amamai Kuruori buried her head deeper on the desk. From the back, it looked like she was about to cry. Tianhai Kaimingyu stood beside her and comforted her. "Sister, don't be sad. This can only mean that something is wrong with someone. It cannot be said that you are not attractive, sister." But Tianhaijuli Yulai buried his head, looking down at his face. His tone was a bit dull, and he was particularly aggrieved. Lejun, he didn't even look at me. He was obviously wearing such shameful clothes. Tianhai Kaimingyu bent down and continued to comfort. "Doesn't this mean that something is wrong with someone? After everyone saw my sister yesterday, they all thought that she was very sensitive." After comforting her, Amamai Nanamai frowned and winked at Sakakibara Suzu, who was about to die from laughter on the bed. She immediately sat up seriously. "Ahem. That's right. When I saw Sister Li Yulai for the first time yesterday, even I had a nosebleed. What does this mean? This can only mean that it is my brother's problem, not that my sister Li Yulai is not charming enough." After saying that, she reached out to touch Tianhai's Higsu, who was playing a game. Tianhai's Higsu, who was attentive, nodded immediately. "Yes, I'm going to have a nosebleed." Everyone went back and forth several times, and Tianhaijuli Yulai felt much better after hearing this. What should I do next? Do I want to take Lejun to the hospital? Sister, do you think Lejun will go? Hard to say. But judging from his behavior this morning, Amamai Kuruori has reason to believe that Sakakibara Raku will say that he is not sick and is very healthy. She didn't have any good ideas and almost wanted to give up. Actually, if you take the initiative to talk to Lejun in Kyoto, maybe he will agree to you directly. Tianhai Kaimingyu had a plain face and did not respond. Sakakihara Suzu watched for a long time and then realized that Sister Kyo was refusing with silence. She wanted to say that she would not take the initiative in this matter at all. This is true, you are still so proud until now. You deserve to be ignored, brother. Snored. However, this smile is enough. You can't help but do things. Sakaki Harasuzu looked at the time and saw that it was time to go to work, so she had to think of a way. She crossed her arms and lowered her head to think for a long time. Then, as if she had a flash of inspiration, she pulled Tianhai Julie Yulai to her side alone and started whispering. Tianhai Kaimingyu was a little uncomfortable being looked at by the two of them. After seeing them finish chatting, he immediately asked, "What? What other ideas have you come up with?" Sakaki Harasuzu and Amamai Kuruori looked at each other, and finally, Sakaki Harasuzu said with some embarrassment. "Sister Kyo, look, isn't it August 15th? I remember there is a fireworks display at this time. How about you and Sister Liulai go together and try it with me? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple." Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 458. So, when will you solve Lejun's problem in July? The blue sky is high, the white clouds are like cotton, and the summer is full. Hibiya Park, located between the Imperial Palace and the Ginza shopping district, is the oldest park in Tokyo, Amamai Kururi asked her sister. "Since my sister has failed in wearing a bunny girl, I will only suggest that he go to the hospital for a checkup. It's obviously July and you said you wanted to treat Lejun." It was clear that the treatment was not working. From the beginning of July, I was particularly enthusiastic about treating Lejun. But ever since she and Ling proposed the idea to her, asking her to wear a bunny suit, she changed. Now I am advocating that someone should go to the hospital for treatment instead of letting them solve the problem. In July, it's just a set of clothes. I wear them all. If one doesn't work, let's try it together. Refused Tianhai Kaimingyu said immediately. Are you shy in July? It's not that I'm shy, but it's just that if my sister wears a bunny girl, it won't do anything. What will happen if I wear it again? The top priority is to take him to the hospital for a checkup, not for us to come up with ideas here and try. Just shy. Tianhai Kaimingyu said calmly, I'm just stating the facts. And there's no way I can wear that kind of clothes. Why? Because it's too exposed. Tianhai Julie Yulai was about to get angry. Kiweu. You don't want to wear it, so you asked your sister to wear it, right? Tianhai Kaimingyu just turned her head quietly, her sky blue eyes reflecting a little bit of summer light. Sister, didn't you accept it yourself? This was an almost flawless rhetorical question. Tianhai Julie Yulai's eyes widened and he could not refute it. And isn't my sister very happy after wearing it? It just has little effect on someone. I have no interest in such overly revealing clothes. The last time I wore a maid outfit at the cultural festival was my limit. So angry, so angry. Why didn't you think July was so irritating before? Anyway, Amamai Kuruori didn't want to walk with her sister at the moment. She slowed down and walked with Sakaki Harasuzu and Amamai Yuki behind. Sister Kyo is going too far. Sakaki Harasuzu was listening to the whole conversation between the two. When she saw Amamai Kuruori walking over angrily, her first words were her approval and her attitude was extremely serious. After all, Sister Chiu bought that set of clothes. How could she do this? That's right. Tianhai Julie Yulai stared at the back of his sister in front of him, getting angry. I said that I wouldn't wear it if it was too revealing. Do you want Sister Liulai to wear such shameful clothes? That's right. Sakaki Barasuzu hugged the hand that held Amamai Kuruori's and said with a smile, so, Sister Liulai, how about you think about the suggestion I made yesterday morning? Julie Yulai had no objection to this. To be honest, she was quite worried about Sakakibara, because no matter how you put it, she was sick. After 4 months, I have basically not had much contact with myself and July. Lejun is still an 18-year-old boy. For an 18-year-old boy, will the feeling of love fade so quickly? She knew that he had been busy recently and was about to start really dealing with business affairs, so as to make preparations in advance to take over his grandfather's position in the future. As a girlfriend, she should be supportive. But similarly, as a girlfriend, she also hopes that he can take the time to spend more time with her. Watch a movie, make a date and go shopping. When you are tired of shopping, sit down together and buy a cup of milk tea, share with him your favorite music that you have heard recently, and then go for a run or exercise with him. During this month's summer vacation, he only worked. He, Chi-Chi and Ji-Shue stayed at home and played games. He didn't do anything else. I took the initiative to wear such shameful clothes and go to him at night, but nothing happened. Not even a kiss on the cheek. Thinking of these, Tianhaijuli Yulai felt particularly depressed, and began to doubt whether she was good-looking or not attractive. Ailing, tell me, is it possible that after a successful relationship, a man will become less enthusiastic about the girls he has pursued before? Absolutely, Sakaki Harasuzu replied subconsciously, but after looking at Julie Yulai's expression, no, I am definitely like this for other people, but I am a different Li Yulai sister. Look at him, Evans Higsu would feel so distressed. Don't you feel sorry for you, sister Li Yulai? Suzu Sakakihara continued, our top priority now is to stop my brother from worrying so much about his work. I think he is so obsessed with work that he doesn't even take care of his girlfriend. This requires Sister Liulai to wake him up. One time. But I tried it that day and it didn't work. So, Sakakihara Suzu raised her voice and laughed, don't you have to use my suggestion? Tianhaijuli Yulai thought for a while and then said, Danling, Kyo didn't agree to your proposal. She didn't agree to do that. Okay, I know. So. That's why we need Sister Liulai to help out in this. We need to find a way to adjust the relationship between everyone, and let Sister Kyo take the initiative. Sakakibara Suzu pulled Tiankai Jurili to a stop, stood on tiptoes, and whispered in Jurili's ear. Don't Sister Liulai think that Sister Kyo has become a little cold since she experienced what happened last time? What does the bell refer to? Tianhaijuli Yulai was curious. I felt something was wrong the last time you came back from the UK. Although the two of them have reconciled, I always feel that they get along with each other a little awkwardly. Sister Kyo can't let go of her cold face, and my brother also said that in the past if you go too far, it's not easy to take the initiative to approach Sister Kyo. Tianhaijuli Yulai agreed with his expression, that sounds like a bit. When they reconciled, I even told Lejun to stop sleeping on the sofa and sleep with us. But instead, I slept in the middle of the night and they were motionless beside me. Thinking about it this way, doesn't the logic make sense? My brother may not be interested in love anymore because of what happened before, so he focused on work. Sister Liulai, you also saw him. How comfortable is Sister Kyo in that position, right? He is a big financier of an investment foundation, and every time he goes to a company, the bosses have to nod and bow to him. Sakakihara Suzu became more and more enthusiastic as she talked. It's a coincidence. Didn't I start to take commercial shoots during this period? Last week, Tiano, I, and a senior went to a candy factory to shoot commercials. During the company team building dinner in the evening, I happened to bump into my boss. Brother. How could this happen? He is an investor in that candy factory. It is because of him that the factory's performance improved last week. The meal that day was said to be a company team building, but it was actually a singing party held by the boss for my brother. In the company, the bosses, managers, and senior executives all took turns to toast him. Even though he doesn't drink at the bar, he still had a great time eating. Everyone was laughing and flattering me. Originally, Amamikuri was still unwilling to believe that Sakakibara Raku would concentrate on work, but after listening to Suzu's words, and recalling that time when Sakakibara Raku got up early to inspect the company, it was hard to overstate how motivated Sakakibara Raku was. Is Lejun really going to become a man like his father who only deals with work and does not take care of the family? There's nothing wrong with it, but I don't like it at all. So what should I do now? The two walked forward again, following Chi Minjiu and Tianhai's Higsu who were walking in front. Sakakibara Suzu whispered, "So, Sister Liulai has to take advantage of this fireworks display to deceive Sister Kyo a little. Otherwise, she won't be able to take the initiative." Asterisk. The fireworks festival is one of the important celebrations that must be held from July to August every year. At this time of year, the temperature will increase, the number of tourists will increase, and surrounding stores will begin to sell various products related to fireworks and summer activities outside their stores. Various souvenirs with fireworks patterns, t-shirts, hats, scarves, fans, and so on. It has actually been a year since the last fireworks display. Looking at the message from his sister on the phone screen, I recalled that I, Sakakibara Raku, was still a little emotional at that time. Does the young master still need to visit Alita tomorrow? In the business district of Minato City, in the office of an investment company named Kiju, the butler-like Sheriff Dunn handed a cup of tea to Sakakibara Raku behind the desk. Sakakibara put down the phone and said, "I really want to go. We have reached an important stage of negotiating the decentralization of power. But tomorrow is already August 15th, and today they even bought me a yukata in the morning. I don't want to go, cannot be done. The young master is different from the master in this respect. Even if it is the birthday of the young lady or the master will not put down his work." Sakakibara closed his eyes, pressed his temples with his hands, and smelled the aroma of tea in front of him. "It sounds like you have been with the old man for a while. You must have disclosed the information about the toy factory to him." County Secretary Dunn was equally respectful. "I've already said it." "Did he say anything?" "The master did not give any instructions." "That means my solution is pretty good and he can't find fault with it. In fact, my age is also quite troublesome. Even if I can dress myself up like someone in their mid-20s, to those business owners, it's still a problem. Too young. Basically everyone I meet treats me as a rich young man from the Tianhai family. It doesn't matter if I have money, I just invest and have fun. This is their impression of me. It was the same when little Miss July was here. This is normal." Sakakibara turned his head and saw the huge conference room next door through the single-pane glass decoration of the office. A large oval conference table was placed in the middle of the room. That's where the company usually holds meetings with its employees and executives. It was a bit incredible to think that Chi-Chi had been sitting at the top position, facing seriously a bunch of old men who were 20, 30, or even 40 or 50 years older than her. What do the senior executives in the company look like when they face Kaimingyu? After hearing this, County Secretary Dunn only replied respectfully with 4 words, "Yes. Yes. Yes. You shouldn't be afraid of a little girl like her. Young master, please don't forget the last name of the young lady." "Tianhai, right." Sakakibara fell silent. "I haven't had much contact with the business circle before, so I don't know. I just heard about the status of the Tianhai family in school, took Tianhai family medicine, and went to the Tianhai family hospital. But when I really came into contact with the Tokyo market, only then will you realize how scary the Hai family is today. Basically controlled the entire Tokyo. Business and medicine are unmatched. Culture and entertainment, industrial manufacturing, media news, education, and infrastructure have radiated to the entire country. If you dig a little deeper, you can see the 4 characters Tianhai group hidden behind it everywhere. The last time he went to Amami's house, Sakakibara Raku met some ministers who came to see the old man at home. When they saw that he could still call out his name, they even took the initiative to shake his hand. Ah! There are also some ministers who are members of their own family. The perspective was a little too short before, but now it seems that a coward like the old man was willing to admit what he said. A large part of the reason was that he particularly loved Zhigzhu. It's no wonder that my uncle is unwilling to take over this stressful situation. Kaimingyu, an investment company, is really like a child playing house in front of the Tianhai family. Is this considered a marriage into a wealthy family? No wonder those people were a little afraid when they saw that he was always diligent and diligent. I'm afraid if someone from the Tianhai family got angry and killed them in Shendongguan, the family wouldn't even be able to sue them. Although it is an exaggeration, the Tianhai family is not so cruel, but the actual rights are almost the same. Sakakibara took a breath and raised his head. Tomorrow, Sheriff, you can negotiate on my behalf. Just say that I have important matters that cannot be avoided, and everything will be done as agreed. No problem. After handing over the affairs of the company in July, Sakakibara refused Gunji Dun's request to drive him home. After hanging his suit on the back of the chair in his office, he walked to the subway station wearing a white shirt. Tokyo at night. People coming and going and neon lights flashing. Sakakibara Raku felt a little more relaxed as all kinds of people dressed in fashionable clothes, serious people and people with children who came to hang out in this business circle passed by. I stood on the pedestrian street for a while and watched street performers singing popular songs that were on the recent charts. Then I went to an affordable fried chicken shop with only a few square meters and full of pictures and text to buy a 500 yen fried chicken steak. Stopping in the bustling city, looking up at the bustling giant LED billboards and the slightly blue night sky, with his back against the wall of the building, Raku Sakakibara realized that this is what life is like after a busy life. Diddy. Suddenly a message came on the phone. Brother is not off work. Flashing together with the message, there was also the oversized LED billboard directly opposite. Full of sweat, full of youth and vitality, shining Sakakibara Suzu suddenly appeared, dancing and smiling brightly at the camera while giving winks. Above. Immediately following, there is a short and gorgeous preview of the idol group. The sound lights up the starry sky, the passion weaves dreams, and with infinite energy and enthusiasm, embarks on the never-ending lens of the universe. Whether it is passionate music, the bright smile is still the same brave and forward spirit stellar voice. Dazzling light. This is a pretty good shot. It's just that Ailing doesn't look like Ailing. How can she be as hard-working as the lazy fish in the advertisement? And Ailing doesn't seem to be called Ailing in stellar voice, but Aliyah? This is probably the character in the corresponding drama that Ailing mentioned. She seems to be a girl who can operate a mecha. Sakakibara lowered his head and tapped on the screen of his mobile phone. Ailing, is your new group called Stellar Voice, Voice of the Stars? 10 seconds later. Brother, how do you know? Sakakibara raised her phone and took a photo of her image on the advertising screen. Then check it and click send. Picture. No, isn't this what it is? Sakakibara Suzu, it's really alas, I didn't expect it to be released so soon. Sakakibara laughed, found an emoticon and sent it. Thumbs up. And followed immediately by. Very good, so when is your concert? I don't know anyway, it was just recently. Oh, don't mention this, come back soon. Brother sister Liulai and sister Kia bought you 2 sets of yukata today, so you can wear them for tomorrow's fireworks show also. Your expression looks like an old man, can you use something cute? Sakakibara Raku typed, why 2 pieces? Because they have different opinions, but, regarding the fireworks display tomorrow night, I can reveal some information to you in advance, brother. Sakakibara Raku, who had his back against the wall, stood up straight on one foot and said, "Let's talk. That is Sister Kia wants to have a date and talk with you alone before going to the fireworks display tomorrow afternoon." "Why?" "I don't know anyway, brother, you just have to go and remember, don't let Sister Leuli know." The topic ends here. Sakaki Hararaku found it strange. What can I say if I want to talk to myself alone in July? Don't let Leuli know yet. Weird. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 459. Just another day. Although she was going to visit the fireworks display and the temple fair today, Ling had to take too many days off recently, so she had to go to work even during the day. Several people in the family have already finished their summer homework and other things. They don't want to do too much lately. They are basically lazy at home, blowing on the air conditioner and playing games. "What is the fireworks festival?" Amami no Yuki asked when Raku Sakakibara was combing her hair. "You don't know," Sakakihara hesitated at first, then asked in surprise. Tianhai's Higsu sat obediently, shaking her head silently, staring at her two hands on her legs. "Then I probably forgot about it." Sakakihara held up her long hair with one hand and used the other hand to scrape off a few messy strands with the comb. "I really don't know." "Have your family ever taken you to a temple fair before?" "No." Amami Nazuki's reply was innocuous, but to Sakakibara Raku's ears, this was another heart-wrenching sentence she said. "Even though I have grown up this big and still live in Tokyo, I have never been to the annual fireworks display." Thinking of this, Sakakibara's voice slowed down a lot. The fireworks festival is a place where many people gather together every year to watch the very beautiful fireworks. At this time, those selling food, souvenirs, and small toys will gather on a street. Yellow, orange, green, round, triangular. All kinds of dazzling lanterns are hung on the street, and all kinds of children are wearing masks and running around with dancing toys. Amami no Yuki faced herself in the mirror and Sakakihara Raku, who was standing behind her combing her hair, and listened to his description in a daze. "Sounds so lively." "Yeah, it's very lively." "Then, can I go with everyone?" Tianhai's Higsu turned around. Sakakihara laughed out loud. "Isn't this just preparing to go out? Otherwise, why should I comb your hair?" As soon as he finished speaking, Amami Nazuki hugged his waist tightly, and her face was pressed against Sakakibara Raku's belly. "What's wrong?" "Ling told me something yesterday." "What's the matter?" "Tell me, I'm listening." When Ling said Ellie flew to England, he wanted to be alone and leave everyone. It's been a month, what else is Ling saying dash? Before she finished speaking, Sakakihara Raku felt Amami no Yuki hugging her tighter. She hugged her tightly with her body and said to herself, "I don't want Raku to leave," in an extremely reluctant voice. This is a request so weak that it makes one feel pity. "Then what will happen to Higsu if I leave? I will be sad for the rest of my life." Sakakihara laughed, answer so decisively. "Well, Ellie is the only one." Her words were so firm that there was no doubt that Sakakihara Raku could even use her current little face to imagine how she would silently follow him in the future, no matter how he treated her in the future, no matter whether he treated her well or not in the future. Okay, she will follow. When she is not needed, she will hide in a corner, but when she is needed, she will appear immediately. Could it be that I have taken too little care of her recently? Putting his hand on her little head, Sakakihara began to remember. "Does Yuki think I'm very busy recently?" "Well, Ellie is very busy, and I can't talk to Ellie every day. In fact, it's not just Yuki. I haven't communicated much with everyone this month, only a few words while eating after returning home from work in the evening. Recently, I haven't been able to play the new songs I wrote." There are also many people online who have been urging us. Is there anyone else urging you? Well, there are a lot of people. The last time I played in a band, I did it on a whim, and I didn't expect it to become a small hit. Now the band's account is basically managed by Yuki, and she usually uploads some of her personal solos. Raku Sakakihara suddenly remembered Suzu's idol group. He suddenly felt that it would be really good to let Yuki be a cute and innocent, really, little idol. But if you think about it carefully, Yuki is good as a guitarist, but not as an idol because she can't pretend at all. At least half of the idol characters on Aling's stage are disguised. But it is not impossible for Yuki to become a voice actress. She has a very good voice and can sing. Her unique voice cannot be imitated by others, and she also has Aling to help her. Is Yuki interested in voice acting? Tianhai's Higsu blinked. It's Ling's job. Yeah, you see, you play basketball in the park every day, and your level is so good that no one around you wants to play with you. Speaking of which, are you willing to participate in a professional basketball game? Yuki is quite talented. Don't want. You refused so decisively. Once you become famous in basketball, you can't stay around Le. What are you talking about? Sakakibara smiled happily. Does Yuki have any wishes or dreams now? The wish is to make Le happy every day, and the dream is to make Le happy every day. After saying that, she hugged herself tighter. If you want to say who is the most addictive to depend on now, it can only be Yuki. She is small and cute, as clean as snow, comfortable to hold, and clinging to people so that people don't want to let go. Le said that if the bell works, it will be better to sing in the future. I can sing to Le every day. It's true that you are happy when you sing. Sending Higsu to be a CEO has to be considered in the long term, but this is also a good start for her. Let's put it aside for now, and ask Ling for her opinion. Speaking of Yuki, you've been hugging me for so long, don't you feel uncomfortable? It's been a long time since I hugged Le. I need to hold her for a little longer. Le, please touch my head. After a moment of silence, Sakakihara reached out and touched her head again. By the way, Yuki, do you want to watch the fireworks? I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. Tianhai's Higsu's eyes were full of hope. Would Le want to watch it with me today? To be honest, Sakakibara felt that the natural black color of Amami no Yuki was back again. It was unclear whether it was because he couldn't refuse her. It's true that I can't refuse. There is no way to treat a girl who thinks about her best so cruelly, and besides, Yuki still has the status of sister. Of course. So. Sakakibara smiled. Yuki, sit down quickly, help you comb your hair, and start changing into a yukata. The one your sisters took you out to buy yesterday. Good. Tianhai's Higsu immediately sat upright and waited for him to comb his hair, like a child. Seeing her sit down, Sakakihara neatly combed her hair straight and spread it loosely on her back, and then pinned the big white flower on the back of her head. It was up to her to change clothes, and Sakakibara left the room. After checking the time, Sakakibara went back to his bedroom and started changing into the yukata that several people bought for him yesterday. This men's yukata only comes in a few colors. What's so new about it? Isn't it okay to just use last year's one? While complaining and getting dressed, suddenly there was a knock on the door. Sakakihara put on the clothes she had not finished taking off. Come in. The door was pushed open immediately. Seeing the visitor's long flaxen hair and expressionless face, Sakakibara remembered that Suzu had said yesterday that Chi-Chi wanted to talk to him this afternoon. Also avoid Liulai. Chi-Chi was talking to himself. Why did he avoid Liulai? Bizarre. Asterisk. At the same time. Minato, WOD voice actor office. After saying hello to her colleagues, Sakeki Harasuzu came to the street from the first floor and saw Nanami waiting alone on the bench. She was next to a Zelkova tree, holding a piece of milk tea she bought from somewhere in her hand, drinking it quietly by herself. As soon as she saw her, Sakeki Harasuzu laughed. She held up the beret on her head and walked happily behind Nanamayu. Then he stood on the right side and patted Tianhai Kaimingyu on his left shoulder. Have you finished work? Tianhai Kaimingyu's face turned from the right. Oh. Sister Kyo, why didn't you fall into the trap? Tianhai Kaimingyu sipped her milk tea, with only boredom in her eyes. That idiot brother of yours has used this trick behind me so many times that he is immune. Okay, Sakeki Harasuzu noticed the cup in her hand. Where did you get this milk tea? What does it taste like? Cilantro lemon. Amami Nanamayu remained still and stared at Sakaki Harasuzu. My sister bought it. Does it taste good? It tastes bad. It tastes bad, but you still drink it with such enthusiasm. Sakeki Harasuzu was speechless. Then she paused for no reason and deliberately asked, what about Sister Liulai? Tianhai Kaimingyu continued to drink milk tea and explained in a normal way, I went home to get something. Then why is Sister Kyo here? I just walked to the door of your office, waiting for you. Sakeki Harasuzu couldn't believe it. Sister Kyo, you are actually. Tianhai Kaimingyu held the milk tea in her hand and said, for the sake of this cup of milk tea. What did sister say? Ling knew that we were passing by your office door and there was no one waiting for her. Ling would be angry. And because sister wanted to be the first one, I wear a yukata and appear in front of my brother. In order to show my magnanimity, I will naturally follow my sister's wishes. Sakeki Harasuzu was speechless. It took me a long time, but it turns out you weren't waiting for me on purpose. So happy. But hey, there will be more fun things in the evening soon. What are you laughing at? Watch your saliva. Tianhai Kaimingyu frowned. No, it's nothing. I just thought of some beautiful pictures. Tianhai Kaimingyu shook her head, ignored someone's cuteness, and stood up from the bench. Okay, now that you're off work, hurry up. We're late for the fireworks display, so we can only watch the sea of people. Okay. Go. 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 Amami Nanami went home with Sakaki Harasuzu, but she found that someone was missing from the house. Where's my brother? Tianhai Juliulai immediately explained, I asked Lejun to bring a picnic cloth and lunch to take a seat to watch the fireworks. After we change clothes, we can go to see him together so that we can have a sense of surprise. It's not that I can't understand my sister's thinking. Tianhai Chi Minjiao took out her phone and checked the time, then hurry up, it's hard to walk on the road if there are too many people. While Amami Nanami glanced at the phone, Amami Kuruuri and Sakeki Harasuzu looked at each other tacitly, and then she immediately agreed. Okay, no problem. Asterisk. Jingle bell bell. On the eaves of the shrine, wind chimes swayed with the evening breeze. There are many colorful stalls, and all kinds of aromas are scattered in all directions. The streets are crowded with people, and girls in colorful costumes alternate between countless lanterns. Children chase among the crowd with newly bought toys. The adults stopped in front of the food stall, laughing and chatting. The couple held the apple candies they bought for each other, shyly unable to see each other's faces clearly. The temple fair at night reflects the beauty of everything. However, Sakeki Hararaku only focused his attention on the entrance of the temple fair. The white yukata is embellished with elegant white lilies, with varying shades of light purple and light yellow. The bright red sash is embellished with simple patterns. The girl stands tall and graceful, with her flaxen hair tied up in a hairpin, revealing her slender neck. With the light pace gradually approaching, the silver hair accessories on the long hair reflected the light of thousands of lights at the temple fair. No matter how many words he used, Sakeki Hararaku could not describe their beauty at this time. This outfit, This familiar face, he seemed to have returned to that summer more than a year ago. What was different from the past was that the beautiful girl with whom he was still estranged was already smiling softly and waving to him on the street of the temple fair. Long wait, Lejun. Didn't you buy a new yukata? Why are you still wearing last year's one? Sakakihara Suzu, who was wearing a purple yukata, jumped out from behind and suddenly interrupted. It's not Sister Liulai who had a sudden idea. I said a year ago, brother, you praised her for how beautiful this yukata was, so she wore it. Tianhai Liulai smiled and nodded, that's it? Tianhai Kaimingyu sighed, I don't really want to, because I can always recall some bad things. Tianhai Liulai looked at her sister generously, you mean the time you lost to me in July? Sister, you really dare to say that? Didn't I steal my sister's love? According to the situation at that time, my sister dared to say that she didn't like someone. Amamai Kuruori looked back at Sakakibara Raku with the same gaze. I did have a crush on Rakujun at that time. I still remember Rakujun taking me to fish for goldfish, but I didn't catch any and was laughed at by the kids on the side. Why do you keep remembering these things? Tianhai Yulai covered her mouth and smiled, because it's very interesting. And Lejun, that was really the first time someone took me to a fireworks display. It was the first time that someone took me to play with those things, and I saw Lejun beside me. It makes me feel very happy. Well, this is Higsyu's first time here. Wait, where is Yuki? Sakakihara Raku and a few others looked around, and finally set their sights on a small stall not far away. There was a line of people in front of the food stall, and Tianhai's Higsu stood beside the crowd and put her feet on it. She was wearing a white yukata with camellias on it, and her hair was tied up with hairpins by Liulai and the others. The big white flowers on her hair were not removed unexpectedly. At this time, she couldn't move her eyes away from the fried food stall. Why does Yuki taste better than me? Sakakibara Suzu said, holding Sakakibara Raku's arm. Sakakihara said helplessly, you're not the one who took her. Let's go and get there first. Several people walked over immediately. What is this? Tianhai's Higsu pointed at a big, yellow fried skewer without looking back. Raku Sakakihara explained directly from behind her, your sister Suzu's favorite, tornado potatoes, usually not many people sell it. Hey. What do you mean by my favorite? Don't give me random definitions. Isn't it? I just remember the way you kept shouting tornado potato last year. That was, in the past, okay. I've grown up. Yes, Grandma Lingu. I bought tornado potatoes for everyone and walked around the festival together. Raku Sakakibara really likes festivals. Whether it is now or in the past, at that time, he would always have change that he would not have at ordinary times, buy novelty things that he could not usually buy, and play hide and seek with his sister in the crowd. Although I am always worried that she will get lost. The fun of hiding and seeking can probably only be experienced in childhood. If you think about it carefully, time is really short. Don't you want to go out alone with me in July? While Ruri and the three foodies were queuing up in front of the food stall again, Sakakibara took the opportunity to ask Amamai Nanamajetsu. Tianhai Kaimingyu glanced at him sideways, but did not refuse. If you want to go out with me, just say so, why bother beating around the bush? How could I? But since you said so in July, let me tell them. I will take you to the temple fair alone. Sakakibara stretched out his hand. Tianhai Kaimingyu can't understand his current initiative, but considering that he invited her for the first time after 4 or 5 months. Fine. She put her hand on it. Sakakihara Raku only felt that her hands were thin and cold. He was a little embarrassed when he thought about what was going to happen next. Should it be said that Chi-Chi is such a person at heart? Just superficially serious? Or is it that he really hasn't paid much attention to them recently, making them feel a little lonely. Go to the river for a walk first. Ken. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 460. People are invited to the river, but they don't go to the river at all. Wuang was crowded with people, and the area near the bridge was even more jam-packed with cars and people. The police stood on top of the police propaganda vehicle and used loudspeakers to repeatedly remind tourists not to crowd. There are so many people here, but luckily we didn't go to the Sumida River. I'm afraid there will be picnic cloths placed on the road every few kilometers this year. Sakakibara glanced at the other side, and then returned her gaze to the side of Amami Nanamayu's face. She stared blankly at the crowds of people entering the temple fair. The silver hairpin in her hair shone in the wind. What are you thinking about in July? Tian Haikaimingyu's expression was cold as usual, with only the gaze that silently stared forward brought a hint of warmth. Even though Raku Sakakihara called her in her ear, she remained silent as if she didn't hear him. July. Tian Haikaimingyu looked away and closed her eyes. It's nothing. I just think there are a lot of people here and it's very lively. It's a summer festival after all, Sakakibara continued to say to her. There are too many people on the other side of the river and we can't get through. How about I take you over to visit the temple fair outside the shrine? It's up to you. Give me that hand. When Sakakibara said this, Nanamai saw that her hand had separated from his at some point. She looked at his face, hesitated for a moment, and then held it. The two walked into the street and were immediately surrounded by the lively music of the festival. Raku Sakakibara saw a stall selling animal marshmallows, so he took Nanamai's hand and went there with him. When the boss asked what animal do you want, Raku Sakakibara said shark without thinking. 2 words, and the keyword extra large is also added. He paid for it smoothly, took the giant marshmallow from the boss with a smile, and handed the marshmallow to Tian Haikaimingyu in the eyes of envy and surprise from the children lining up behind him. Next, even when she started walking slowly in the temple fair, Tian Haikaimingyu kept her eyes on the shark marshmallow, dumbly noticing the funny expression caused by the boss's poor skills. Sakakihara looked at her several times during this period, but he had never seen Kyo with such a silly expression similar to Ruri's. What are you doing staring at a marshmallow for so long? You're stupid. Do you still remember what I like? Tian Haikaimingyu muttered softly. Don't you just like little sharks in July? Anything else? Potato chips. Besides. Potato chips fried rice. I like light food other than potato chips fried rice with less salt for dinner. I prefer bread with some salad for breakfast. I like to hold onto your glasses when I have nothing to do. You also say you don't care about me, but you always send me away. The pair of glasses I gave you should be wiped several times a day, Sakakihara blurted out without spending much time thinking about it. When he said this, he didn't think it was anything at first until he saw Tian Haikaimingyu's quiet profile. There is not a stray hair beside the ears, it is very clean and smooth, and it is all tucked into the bun on the back of the head. The bun was even more carefully prepared, with not only silver ornaments inserted, but also several lavender velvet flowers. It was obvious that she had dressed herself up before going out today. Feel sorry. Apologize for what? I haven't spoken to you much in the past month. Tian Haikaimingyu then moved her eyes to his face. It seems you are not too stupid. After chatting here, the two fell silent again, each looking at their own eyes. They all know what has been hindering the relationship between the two of them recently. It is not a problem of either party, but a slight gap between both parties. After walking absent-mindedly for a while, Sakakihara Raku didn't even look at Amami Nanamajetsu, but kept thinking about her holding a marshmallow, wearing a yukata, and her small side face as beautiful as a handicraft. Is she hinting at herself by looking at the marshmallows she bought for her? She dressed up so beautifully when she went out tonight. Was she taking the initiative to tell herself that she wanted to talk to herself about what was on her mind? The answers to these questions may already be in his mind, but at this moment, it was extremely difficult to express them to her. I don't know what I should say to her or how to start a conversation with her. July Sakakihara looked at her snow-white neck from the side. Well, do you have anything to say? Tianhaikaimingu ate the marshmallow gently. Is it because I haven't spoken to you for a month, making you feel insecure? Even though the question was small enough and tactful enough, Tianhaikaimingu still paused after hearing it. Sakakibara looked up at the night sky of the festival, or maybe it's because we haven't really reconciled since we came back from England, so July started to worry about gains and losses. He withdrew his gaze, looked at the girl, and said with a smile. It is precisely for this reason that in Kyoto, you asked me just now whether I still remember your preferences, and you were very happy because I gave you a marshmallow just now. Tianhaikaimingu opened her mouth slightly, but did not speak at first. After 2 seconds of hesitation, she frowned. You'd better not take yourself too seriously. Then I'll go jump into the sea. Farewell. Tianhaikaimingu's voice became faster in an instant, and her steps moved slightly towards him. Sakakibara retracted his world-weary expression, turned around, and smiled at the girl again. Look, after all this, you are still a little bit stubborn in July. Is it because you haven't gotten rid of your anger in July last time? So. Even now I know that you bastard said those words to me on purpose. But you really believed it at that time, and you had uncomfortable emotions about it, and you still linger to this day, right? Sakakihara's expression and words softened, and she continued to speak. I only know that I wanted to throw away all the things you gave me, but I didn't have the heart to do it. Then I thought that the person I wanted to believe would actually say those things to me. Even though Amami Nanamajetsu didn't finish what she said, Sakakibara Raku could still hear the emotions in her words. July actually has a problem that is more serious than Liuli. That's her sense of security. Her life is all based on the phantom of the past. This makes her emotionally helpless, basically only trusting herself and the person who saved her in the past. After experiencing many things, she chose to believe in herself, believing that he would give her a reliable emotion and give her a life of mutual support and trust that she had never had before. It is useless to pursue past mistakes now. Sakakibara only understood Kyo's deep love for him by recalling these things. Those words that deliberately irritated her really hurt her. Sakakihara looked at her and wanted to apologize to her again, but she saw it and stopped her. I know what you are thinking, and now I also understand your heart and motivations of not letting go of the snow. Maybe people are selfish. Obviously I was rescued by you like that. Now, the I in the past has been replaced by Yuki, but I can't accept you putting that kind of thing on others again. Tianhaikaimingu was quiet for a while. Now I don't blame you at all. If I do, blame the Tianhai family. People in this family never know what home is, and they always only think about work and money. I envy Ling very much. I have often heard about her and the story of you growing up together. Even if you have no money, even if you can only live in a leaky house, you can cuddle up with each other for warmth and continue to move towards tomorrow with energy. My aunt also told me about you when you were young. She said that when you were in elementary school, whenever you went to find Ling, Ling would call you brother, smile, and rush to you happily, and hug you together. And I sister, even the college life where only the two of us are present at the graduation ceremony, there is not much to talk about. If I had a brother like that, maybe I wouldn't be like this now and I could be like Ling, happy every day, and face the new day with a smile every day. July, who likes to laugh every day just like Ling. Sakakibara imagined it for a while, but he couldn't imagine it. That kind of situation was not actually July. And because of this, you kept teasing me when we first met. Tian Haikaiminyu held a marshmallow in her hand and squinted her eyes. Didn't you realize that I also prefer the playful kind of person in my heart? Why do you think it's like this now? The 1st July. Thinking about it carefully, it seems that the only characteristic left is no expression. Emotional matters were too serious and heavy, and she no longer had the mood to joke with herself as before. I particularly want to ask you a question now. Huh? What do you want to ask? You bastard, why are you so hard to chase? Nanami's serious expression immediately made Sakakibara laugh. I can't help it, who told me to be so good? Tian Haikaiminyu frowned and twisted his waist. I can't stand how arrogant you bastard is in front of me. Hey, you're doing this again? Chi, don't say it. I can't stand your usual arrogance and arrogance. You're tough talking. You know you're tough talking every day. Sooner or later, you're going to lose to your tough talking. I think that's reasonable. Look, you're still being stubborn. I really want to stuff Ailing's chicken legs into your mouth. Chicken legs, Tian Hai Chi Minjia curled her lips in disdain and turned away in disgust. I didn't see how powerful you were when you stuffed that thing into my mouth. Amamai Nanamajetsu's words choked Sakakibara Raku so much that he couldn't even form a single word for a long time. This ant doesn't even look where she is. Can such private matters be brought up and discussed casually? When he went to look at her again, he saw the corners of her mouth moving upwards. This was clearly mocking her for overestimating her abilities. Ahem, Raku Sakakibara cleared his throat. A few months ago, I don't know who suddenly had to go on a business trip for a week out of nowhere. Isn't that scary? Business trip? It's just a routine thing for me. I don't know how you were able to contact me and I'm afraid of you. Who in the entire Akita Junior High School doesn't know your nickname, Sakakibara Raku? Poison. Very poisonous tongue. Her two words directly caused Sakakibara Raku's I'm sorry mood that he had built up a second ago to collapse instantly, and he could only think about how to deal with this bastard girl. But think about it carefully after you calm down. But she discovered that Chi-Chi's words had another profound meaning. She didn't want to burden her mentally too much, and deliberately said some annoying words to balance the feelings between them. Thinking about it this way, when I look at Tian Haikaiminyu again, I just feel that she is 10,000 times more adorable. Why are you so caring? I've already done this to you. I don't know what you're talking about. Sakakibara sighed, and then smiled at her cold face. If anyone in this world can marry a wife like Kyo, he will definitely be happy for the rest of his life. If you are beautiful, you can make money, and you are capable, or, the key to a super rich young lady is that she always thinks about the people she likes, trusts them absolutely, and insists on them absolutely. Just saying these things doesn't mean you can get rid of the title of bastard on your head. Tian Haikaiminyu glanced at him secretly from the corner of her eye. Sakakibara went directly to hold her hanging little hand and squeezed her softness in his palm. Then why don't you tell someone? How should someone try to get rid of it now? Chi-Chi's hands are small and, as usual, cool and soft. Tian Haikaiminyu was unexpectedly quiet for half a minute, and then said, First of all, I just walked around the temple fair for a while and didn't eat much. Secondly, someone wanted a small piece of jewelry as a souvenir and apology gift. She only wanted a shark, and she wouldn't accept any other jewelry. If she couldn't find it, she wouldn't buy it. Forgive. That's it? That's it? Someone should use July is so wonderful, to express his mood at this time. It's best to express it in a lifetime. Don't forget that someone still owes me a lifetime of stories. Yes. Your love in Kyo is worth someone's lifetime treatment. It's good to know that Zhigzhu and sister existed before he agreed. They are exceptions. I will only have one request from him in the future. Amamai Nanamajetsu and Sakakibara Raku were walking along the busy streets together, neither looking at each other but looking at the lively temple fair in front of them. What is it? Stop making yourself responsible for other people. That's quite playful. I'm serious, don't let me hit you guy in the head with a marshmallow. You are so cute that I want to hug you. The next second, hey, Sakakihara laughed as the girl exclaimed, what are you going to do? Not only did he hold Tian Haikaiminyu in front of him, he also forced one of her hands to tighten around his neck. The tourists around them all looked at the two people in the middle of the temple fair. It's gotten heavier. Asshole, Tian Haikaimingyu's delicate face became very strange in his arms. I don't know if this is in front of outsiders again. I know, I seem to have hugged you like this last time. As for which time, I can't remember clearly. But it's not important. The important thing is not that you don't feel safe in Kyoto. Let's show off our affection in front of everyone. Let you feel the feeling of being pampered. Tian Haikaiminyu was so angry that she almost broke the unfinished marshmallow stick in her hand. But she didn't dare to let outsiders see her being hugged by the princess, so she turned her face towards his arms and closed her eyes tightly, feeling the feeling of him holding her back and holding her legs. Sakakibara looked at the beautiful girl in his arms and asked with a smile. Where do you want to go now, princess? Don't say anything, right? If you don't say anything, I will carry you across the street, so everyone can see how cute the princess is. Childish. What? Want 2 hugs? Okay. Nanami refused to say anything, so Sakakihara Raku actually carried her around the street twice until he saw her face was so red that it almost steamed up, and then he let her go. As soon as she got up, she turned around and left, her back soon disappearing into the bustling crowd. It seemed that she was too embarrassed to see anyone. Sakakibara smiled and hurriedly followed, shouting something like, "Don't you want me to buy you a gift?" Well, it's time to talk, but my wife is hard to coax when she's angry. Even after walking through the whole temple fair with her, I still wasn't satisfied. I fished for goldfish with her, played pinball games with her, and then bought her food and drinks. Things like bringing her unfinished milk tea. It wasn't until 1 hour before the fireworks officially started that Raku Sakakibara remembered what was going on today, which was the request Chi-Chi had made to himself in the afternoon. Really? Such a shameful request. I really don't know what she was thinking. That July. How? There is a small forest behind the shrine. Do you want to go? Go? What to do? Tian Haikaiminyu was eating the skewers he bought, feeling happy and quite arrogant, but it's not impossible if you want to go inside the shrine, let's go. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 461. There are many Inari gods enshrined in the shrine. Correspondingly, there are also many amulets related to safety and wealth being sold there. Sakakihara Raku accompanied Amami Nanamajetsu inside and looked left and right. She was very interested in these gadgets. She kept looking at the inscriptions or scriptures on the guards, and occasionally said a few words about which gods were mainly enshrined on them. She is very serious, and her back in a yukata is also very elegant and beautiful under the orange lanterns of the shrine, but Sakakihara Raku feels quite embarrassed when she thinks of what is going to happen next. In the afternoon, before going out in July, Chi-Chi specially came to see me and talked to me a lot. Wasn't it just to hint that he was doing that? I feel embarrassed now. If I don't take her there, does that mean I'm not taking care of her mood? July. What? Tian Haikaiminyu randomly picked up a piece of red yushao at the stall and looked through it. Are you happy now? Happy? Just give it a try. Tian Haikaiminyu stretched out her slender hand and held up a bracelet with a cartoon image of a small shark in front of him with an expressionless face. Look, you ran twice to buy it for me. On this bracelet. Then now. Before Raku Sakakibara finished speaking, Nanami knew what he wanted to say, and his indifferent expression remained, will I accompany you to the woods behind? Right. What you up to? Because there were other passers-by around, Sakakihara Raku would definitely not say it out loud, it's nothing, I just think it's close to Arakawa and the scenery for watching the fireworks will be nice. You didn't watch it with your sister and the others, Tian Haikaimingu observed the details of his face. There are several waves of fireworks. I will accompany you to watch the first wave in Kyo. Tian Haikaimingu didn't speak, just stared at him with her eyes. Raku Sakakihara turned her face away slightly from her naked gaze. It's not that he's afraid of her, but he feels that her carefully decorated face tonight is too pure and beautiful, and he can't bear to touch her. Tian Haikaimingu withdrew her gaze from his face, thought for a moment, and felt that he wanted to compensate herself. My sister will definitely be angry with you when she hears this. But, I like it. Then, go over now. Let's go, why are you hesitating? Amami Nanamajetsu took Sakakibara Raku's wrist and took the initiative to lead him towards the back of the shrine. Sakakihara Raku followed her. He had never seen July take such initiative as today. In the afternoon, I hinted that it was July when I went to the grove. Until now, she didn't even hint at it, she just pulled her to hurry up. Is it really good to be so bold? Although the grove over there is quite big and is close to the Arakawa River, after passing through it to the left, you will enter the entrance to the summer festival. Isn't she afraid that some children will suddenly break in while playing hide and seek? Or is it because he hasn't touched her for so long that she can no longer bear it? It's hard to say, it's really hard to say. Nanami pulled Sakakibara Raku across the bamboo guardrail of the shrine and came to the pine forest. Then they walked a long way forward and finally came to the edge of the Arakawa River. The Arakawa River is not wide, however, it faces a baseball field on the other side that is closed at night, and it also intersects with a branch river that flows in from Toda Park. From here, you can see the festival stalls scattered along the opposite bank, so the view is very good. More importantly, there is no one else here, only the summer cicada chirping in the forest can be heard. There is also a lawn outside the pine forest, suitable for setting up picnic stalls and so on. Tian Haikaimingu saw the bustling lights on the other side through the gap in the forest, and wondered if this guy had come to inspect the spot in advance. This location was quite good just for watching the fireworks. Just now at the temple fair, I bought myself gifts and food. I even got milk tea for myself and spent money on royal guards. Now, I specially invite myself to watch the fireworks that only belong to two people. It's not that I'm looking forward to anything, but it's the first time someone has invited me to watch a fireworks together since I've grown up. Fireworks that you only watch with yourself. For a moment, let him adjust it to a higher level in his mind. Nanami felt a little happy thinking about this, and wanted to turn around to see what Sakakibara Raku would say to her at this time, but she never thought about it. This turn of her head made her freeze in place. What are you doing? Sakakibara Raku had already taken off his shirt and was currently untying his yukata. His eyes met those of Tian Haikaimingu. On one side is a girl in a yukata standing near the river in a yukata. On the other side is Raku Sakakibara, who has taken the initiative to take off her shirt and started to untie her yukata in the woods. Raku Sakakibara saw the surprised expression on Nanami's face. When he stopped moving, he also had a look of confusion on his face. What? What? I'm asking you what you are doing. What am I doing? Didn't I bring you here according to your request in July? Unlike Nanami's surprise, Sakakihara Raku untied his yukata in a few moments, and then the yukata slid down his body and fell to the lawn at his feet. Amami Nanamajetsu was even more confused because after taking off her yukata, Sakakibara Raku didn't just stand there, but walked towards her. He walked up to her in a few seconds. Nanami was forced to retreat, and Sakakibara grabbed her. While holding her waist, he asked her face directly. In July, do you still want to play some welcoming or rejecting games with me? Tian Haikaimingu tried to break free. I understand, you still want to play your tricks in Kyo, right? Kyo, I'm not talking about you. Since you have made it clear to me, what if you just let go and tell me directly? I won't laugh at you. What are you talking about? Let me go. The more Nanami moved in her arms, the more Sakakihara Raku felt that she was playing a pretend game with him. Still pretending to be stupid? July, it's not good to always be like this. I really remember the hint you said to me in the afternoon. To be honest, I am also a little embarrassed, but after all, I am a boy. I'm sorry, but I don't take the initiative. How can I still let you take the initiative in Kyo? So. Sakakihara put his hands on the yukata strap around her waist and pulled it out. The already loose yukata disintegrated instantly, and at the same time, he moved his face closer to Amami Nanamayu. The girl reacted conditionedly and instantly raised one leg. Boom. Accompanied by this faint crashing sound, Raku Sakakibara's face turned livid. In an instant, Sakakibara's expression changed from confident and satisfied to painful and dull. He gasped, his eyes closed tightly, his mouth opened but no sound came out. He grasped his crotch tightly with both hands, and the expression on his face twisted into one of indescribable pain. Me. Seeing this, Nanami stopped moving his legs and immediately went to support Sakakibara Raku, who was about to fall to the ground, unable to say a word. After a while, Sakakihara began to breathe slowly, his face gradually turned from pale to red, and his hands began to loosen slowly. He swallowed hard and moaned quietly for a while. Finally, he forced out an extremely painful smile and looked at Tian Haikaimingu, who was supporting him. What will you do in July? Seeing his unbearable expression, Tian Haikaimingu knew that he was accidentally hit and hurt him, but she said, you deserve it? I don't know who just ran up to me without saying a word. That is. Sakakihara squatted on the ground, covering his crotch and facing the ground. It took a while before he regained his composure. Ahem, no, it's okay, I'm fine. What did you want to do just now? Do, what? Isn't that what you said you would do in July? Tian Haikaimingu was quiet for a while, and her brows furrowed with a somewhat concerned expression. Did I say anything? Why not? Don't play those pretending games at this time in July. I am Sakakihara Raku almost squeezed the words out from the gaps between his teeth to pronounce them. Tian Haikaimingu, who was supporting him, said, I don't understand what you are talking about. Who is playing games with you? Afternoon. Sakakibara emphasized, feeling that the pain had eased a little. Just when I was about to go out in the afternoon, didn't you hint to me that you wanted me to take you to the grove behind the shrine at night? You chatted with me for nearly 10 minutes. Nothing to do with the topic. Suggesting to you. I've been waiting for the bell to get off work in the afternoon, and I went to change into my bathrobe as soon as I got home. I didn't see you at all. Then how did you dash? Before Sakakihara Raku could finish his words, his crotch started to hurt again. After this aunt played basketball for a while, her strength became much stronger. Only my sister went home before me in the afternoon. Sakakihara only felt pain and didn't think much about it. Then Liuli can't pretend to be you, right? Can she pretend to be you and ask me to do such a thing? Amami Nanamajetsu looked at Sakakibara Raku and recalled the disagreements between herself and her sister these days. At the same time, she remembered what she had been worrying about Sakakibara Raku in the past 2 days. By connecting these two things together, Tian Haikaiminyu saw some signs. Could it be that because he caused his sister to wear a bunny girl, her sister was dissatisfied and did it deliberately to hurt her? No. My sister is not trying to trick me. But recently, I have been advocating that I take Raku Sakakibara to the hospital when I have time. My sister just wants them both to try. In other words, my sister hopes that she will have more contact with Sakakibara-lek and try it out. Instead of taking Sakakibara-lek directly to the hospital, it is not easy to talk to him. As for why her sister did this, Tian Haikaiminyu completely understood. This guy, my sister, just wanted to prove that Sakakibara didn't touch her that night, not at all because of her lack of charm. The person who wore the bunny girl that night would have been exactly the same if it had been July. My sister is so boring and competitive. Tian Haikaiminyu figured everything out, and held her head and shook her head in a troubled manner. Sakakibara, whose face was still full of pain, noticed her expression. Have you thought of something? Well. While Tian Haikaiminyu sighed, she glanced at him one more time and explained to him everything that had happened in the past few days. 10 minutes later. What? Raku Sakakihara covered his crotch, his eyes widened, and he couldn't believe that things were like this. How could you two guys think that I'm in trouble? I look like I'm in trouble. Tian Haikaimingyu's expression was cold and her eyes were as cold as ice, like, after all, no man can sleep directly after his sister puts on a bunny girl and takes the initiative to go to your bed. Sakakibara felt that he was in terrible pain. I was thinking that you asked Liuli to put it on in July. She was not happy to wear it. Plus, she was really tired from work that day and she had to go tomorrow. I was investigating whether a toy factory is suitable for investment, so I decided to just go to bed. Anyway, you just want to work, right? Yes. I don't really want to do that kind of thing. Then why did you think about it again just now? That's not it. Liuli pretended to be you in Kyo and made it clear to me. I can't ignore your express statement. Plus, I haven't talked to you much recently. So, just thinking about agreeing to you is a no-brainer. It's impossible to imagine. Tian Haikaiminyu squatted down and put his hands between his legs and stomach. Is it still hurting? Pain. How about you let me see it? Look. Raku Sakakibara raised his head and saw the delicate face of Amami Nanami with regular features. What do you want to see? Although I can't give you any prescription, you don't know that I have some medical knowledge. I can help you take a look and know if there is any problem. Their eyes met and they were inexplicably quiet for a while. I'll take off my yukata, can you see? Otherwise. Okay, stand up quickly. It's not like you haven't seen it before, so don't be nagging. Sakakihara Raku. Asterisk. The fireworks started. One after another, they bloomed, lighting up the night sky and covering the sky. But Sakakihara Raku had never felt that it was so shameful. The fireworks exploding on the Arakawa River were very beautiful. But he could only hold onto the tree trunk while gritting his teeth and enduring the pain. At the same time, he had to be looked at by a woman. Well, the inspection is complete. How about it? It looks like nothing is wrong, but it looks like. After hearing this, Sakakihara Raku just wanted to slap himself in the face. I have never seen anyone as miserable as me. Now the fake has become real. Tian Haikaiminyu raised her head and asked, are you still in pain? Still. But almost gone. That's weird. You are responsible. Tian Haikaiminyu looked confused. What? You are responsible for July. I can only say try my best. How about you wait an hour and try again yourself? July. Listen, does what you say sound like human language? Sakakihara was furious. Quack doctor. Quack doctor. Tian Haikaiminyu shook her head, feeling very helpless. Brother, it's useless even if you blame me. I'm not the culprit of this matter. Who is that? Li Yulai. Let me think about it. In the beginning, it was the first person to say this. Tian Hai Kaimingyu thought for a while and then remembered, Ling. A Ling. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 462. A ring dash. Hey, hey. It hurts, it hurts. Brother, brother. It hurts. Do you still know it hurts? I really don't know what this head is thinking about every day. You tell your sister Li Yulai and Kyo that I can't do it every day, right? I was dash. How dare you talk back? Suzu Sakakihara kept explaining, but she couldn't resist Raku Sakakihara and continued to drill her head with his fists. It lasted for 5 or 6 minutes before Sakakihara Suzu managed to break free from his restraints, still fuming. Sakakihara Raku had never seen her look like this in his life. You're still not convinced? Not convinced? Completely unconvinced. The chin was also raised. But when she saw Sakakibara approaching, she was so frightened that she held her head and hurriedly said, Listen to me. Listen to me. What are you talking about? Raku Sakakibara frowned and stared at his older sister. Are you talking nonsense in front of your two sisters? Sakakibara Suzu pouted, feeling a little aggrieved. She glanced at him sideways. Brother, you haven't done anything for so long. Ah. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about those weird things. I have been going to work every day lately. I am more mother than my mother, and I am more uncle than my uncle. Haven't you noticed that Sister Li Yulai, Sister Kyo, and Yuki are all left at home by you? After Suzu said this, Sakakibara Raku went to look at Amamai Kurayuri, who was taking food and drinks out of the lunch box. Li Yulai took the time to make all the food at noon, just to eat it tonight when everyone is watching the fireworks display. And what Aling said is even more true. Just now Chi-Chi became so happy because he could take her to the temple fair and buy things. Then Li Yulai is probably the same. When Zhigzu took the time to help her comb her hair today, she hugged herself for a long time and said that she hadn't felt like this in a long time. Sakakibara became quiet, and his eyes stayed on a few people for a second or two. Unknowingly, it seemed that if he didn't care about this family for a while, everyone would start to miss him. Sakakibara Suzu touched her aching head and muttered, Besides, Sister Li Yulai is wearing a bunny girl to get your attention, brother. Can't you care about your girlfriend? Do you still need to teach me? Sakakibara Suzu put her hands on the picnic blanket, approached Sakakibara Raku and hugged her arms, and said with a smile, So am I not reminding you, brother? I also know that I was wrong, and I promise not to do it next time. Brother. Sakakihara Raku was silent, and Sakakihara Suzu hugged his arm and shook it. I'll sing to you when I go home. Even though he was still a little angry with this idiot, just like in the past, as long as she acted coquettishly around him and said a few nice words, his anger towards her would disappear. On the contrary, I feel that the way she acts coquettishly and begs for forgiveness is particularly cute. A fool is a fool. Cute and really cute. Don't want to hear singing. Then I can also beat your back, beat your legs, and help you warm your bed. It's summer. How can I warm the bed? Seeing that his attitude softened, Sakakihara Suzu hugged him from behind and put the weight of her upper body on his back. Sakakihara Raku was forced to move forward by the pressure of his sister. This girl is like this, as soon as she forgives her, she starts to do whatever she wants on herself. Not only would he put his chin to his ear and whisper I'm sorry, but he would also run forward, lie on his lap, face up to the sky, and smile at himself. Silly. I'm just an idiot, so how about you forgive me? Sakakibara Suzu held out a hook-pull hand to him, and Sakakibara Suzu was very familiar with this. Suzu, this guy, is stupid, but his feelings for him really can't be true anymore. She used to come to stay with him when he was unhappy. A while ago, she learned that she wanted to leave everyone, and even cried and cursed what she was thinking. Sakakibara held out his hand to her, made a hook like she did when she was a child, and then made a forgiveness agreement with their thumbs. It means that the matter has passed and should not be mentioned again. Well, that's good. Brother, please don't be angry. Sakaki Hararaku. I have a question to ask you. What? What do you want to ask me? Just tell me, I'm listening. If I suddenly disappeared, no news, or was no longer around, what would you do in the future? Or how would you plan your life in the future? I will look for you forever. Sakaki Harasuzu smiled. Isn't that right? My brother is gone. As my sister, don't I have to look for you all my life? If I can't find it, I'll keep looking until I find it. What about your job? What about your dream of becoming famous? Tch, you still call me stupid? Brother, do you think in my heart, is my dream more important, or you? When you hear these words in your heart, what should you say? Warm. Besides, after knowing that Ling's feelings for him were much more than that, he began to feel more and more like a fool. It's not like there aren't people in this world who are more handsome than me. Yes, but it has nothing to do with me. Suzu Sakaki Haru suddenly rubbed her body from his thigh. Wearing a yukata, she looked particularly different tonight. Not only does she look more mature, but she also looks more like a slim high school girl. Then, Sakakibara saw her putting her hand on her chin, squinting her face, and teasing her with an extremely weird expression. Brother, aren't you moved by my few words? No way, no way. Ha ha ha, it's really useless, bro. I never thought that a scumbag like you with 3 legs could actually dash. The next second, her head was shocked by Sakaki Hararaku. Sakaki Hara said with a straight face, don't say you have these things, or I'll beat you up. Hey. Lejun and Suzu-chan have talked. Tianhaijuli Yulai, who had been listening to the entire conversation between the two, spoke at this time. She also placed all the food that everyone wanted to eat today on the picnic blanket. Li Yulai, if you don't say anything, I've forgotten about you. Did you secretly pretend to be Kyo this afternoon? It's okay for a Ling to be fooling around. Why are you still following her? This is it. Ruri Sakaki Hararaku half closed his eyes. Tianhaijuli Yulai's eyes wandered, and finally he remembered the conversation between him and Ling just now, and deliberately puffed up his face and said. Lejun has the nerve to say that he has been working every day recently and doesn't even care about his girlfriend. Not to mention dating, there is a lot less communication in daily life. When you go home at night, I see you are so tired that I don't have the nerve to disturb you. Ruri's words choked off Sakakibara's question again. This is a fact. I was busy. So why is Lejun so busy? Tianhaijuli Yulai, who was wearing a white yukata, knelt on the blanket and took out a sandwich she had made for lunch from the lunchbox and handed it to him, so busy that he even forgot that he had a girlfriend. The reason, well, Sakakibara sighed, I have to put on a show for the old man, otherwise my relationship with you will not be justified no matter what. Tianhaijuli Yulai pouted, and the silver ornaments behind her hair flickered with the lights of the temple fair behind her. Absolutely, absolutely not because of this. Sakakibara scratched his neck. Lejun. Well, actually, I have no interest in those things recently, ha ha ha. Who knows, you may have misunderstood. No, Lejun is 18, right? 18-year-old boys wouldn't do this. But that's just me. Li Yulai, you've seen a few 18-year-old boys like this and that. That's what the internet says. Sakakibara stretched out his hand and held Amamikururi in his arms. While gently sliding his hand on the waist of her yukata, he pressed against her warm face and said softly, "Don't believe what you read on the internet, Liuli, just use me as your standard." But Tianhaiju really suddenly lowered his voice, looked back, and found that Sakakibara Suzu was scrolling through her mobile phone. She deliberately did not look at the two people behind her, and whispered in Sakakibara Lee's ear with some blushing, "Raku-kun, you haven't moved for so long, why? Don't look for July." "She is not looking for July." After Tianhaiju Liuli finished speaking, he returned to the sitting posture like a young lady. She stretched out her hand to tuck her hair behind her ears, revealing her delicate and rosy cheeks. She also secretly glanced at Sakakihara Raku. Sakakihara coughed twice awkwardly. "Ahem, Liuli, how did you know? You take a bath with me every day in July, and occasionally sleep together." "Of course I know, so tonight Tianhaiju Liuli said a few more words in his ear." "Two of you together? Let's not talk about this for now. It's not good if a Ling hears it." "Well, then. While Kyo and Zhigsu are still out shopping, can I rely on Lejun for a while?" "Call for a while." Sakakibara originally wanted to ask her how to lean on her head, but he didn't expect that she would directly rest her head on his lap. The seat she was sitting on was by the embankment of Arakawa River, surrounded by paved lawns on the slopes. Many tourists brought picnic blankets to watch the fireworks. Not to mention the lively atmosphere here, the wind blowing from the river is also extremely cool. Sakakibara just looked at the girl lying on his lap, looking at her dependence on him. Sakakibara didn't know if this position was comfortable for her, but he knew that it was quite comfortable to be loved like this. Has she been alone with Lejun like this in July? Why did it suddenly come to July? Sakakihara smiled in front of her belly and squeezed her hand that wanted to hold his. "In July, she usually doesn't tell me everything to her sister, so I wonder if I, as my sister, don't give her any sense of security." Sakakibara lowered his head and glanced at Amamikururi's face lying on her side looking at the Arakawa River, intertwined with her slender fingers. "If you ask me, Ruri is still an insecure little girl, and I don't want to do anything to you in July. She talks about what's on her mind because she doesn't want to pass on her own burden to you, Liuli, who already has a burden." "Lejun. What's wrong?" "I miss you." Tianhaiju Liuli squeezed his hand in front of her belly. Suddenly said this. "Every night without you, I always feel like something is missing in my heart." "Really? Knowing that I have done so many wrong things?" Tianhaiju Liuli guided his hand to his heart, closed his eyes, felt the breeze blowing on his face, and said softly, "I didn't care about that anymore." Later on, now lying on Lejun's lap, I wonder if Chi-Chi will feel like this when she wants to rely on someone. Is she feeling the same as me? Obviously we grew up together, but she kept calling me sister, but she still had an unpleasant past. So now I see that Lejun can occasionally take care of Kyo, and I feel happy. The other me is also living well and very happy. Lejun knows that Kyo has always been the kind of person who can only get joy. People who will bury it deeply in their hearts, but after Kyo Tongaljun came to find us just now, Kyo always wanted me to see if the shark bracelet you bought for her is good looking. Just a 500 yen gadget. Yes, a 500 yen gadget. But for Chiu, this is happiness that no amount of money can buy. It is a long cherished wish that she has insisted on for so many years and has been difficult to reach. Lejun didn't notice that every time you give it she doesn't care about July gifts on the surface, but does she keep every gift well? Even when she had the worst quarrel with you a while ago, she didn't dare to throw the gifts you gave her out of the room. Tianhaiju Liuli leaned her face against the inside of his thigh, intertwined her fingers with his, and pressed her palms against each other. In July, she is arrogant to everyone, but she has the most humble feelings for you, Lejun. Even if Lejun thinks of her in his spare time, gives her something, and says some nice words, she will be happy in her heart for a long, long time. This is something I can feel. When they quarreled, Kyo felt the most uncomfortable, but she still wanted to believe you. After her aunt's reminder, Kyo knew Lejun's true thoughts, and guessed that Lejun, you might have to bear such a burden alone. He walked very far away and came to me immediately and said he wanted to go to England with me. As Sakakibara listened, Amamikururi turned over on his lap and looked face to face at the face above him. She smiled. Really, Chi-Chi is obviously a much better person than me. Why do I like you so much, Lejun? Sakakihara just listened patiently and looked at the sparkling water of Arakawa River illuminated by lights. Tianhaijuli Yulai reached out and hugged his waist again and closed her eyes. I think Lejun already knew the answer in his heart. It was Lejun who saved her for the first time and was also the first one who was willing to take the initiative to open her up. A person with an open heart, Lejun, must love Kyo well. A calm narrative that sounds full of emotional aftertaste. What then came to my mind was the time when I pushed open the door of my hometown in the snowy weather with snowflakes on my head, and those smart eyes that looked at me quietly. At that time she was not loved yet. All she could do was express her feelings to herself again and again. If I still didn't accept her that time and still chose to reject her, I don't know if she would always be behind me and silently watch my happiness. Thinking about this, I am really filled with emotion. Tianhaijuli Yulai continued, because of this, Zhixu and Kyo have the same feelings, and Zhixu demands less now. I think as long as Kyo has more contact with Zhixu, he will be better accept the presence of snow in this home. Sakakihara closed his eyes. Thank you, Ruri. Well, Tianhaijuli Yulai agreed gently, looking at his face with his eyes closed. Doesn't it feel good to have someone supporting you? What do you think of me, Lejun? I can't repay Li Yulai for her generosity. Tianhaijuli Yulai's hands slid from his neck to his cheeks until they hugged him. Then I have a small request. Tell me. Sakakihara squeezed her wrist and pressed his cheek against the delicate touch of her palm. How about Lejun letting me be your eldest wife from now on? Good. Sakakibara agreed without hesitation, but suddenly realized something was wrong. He opened his eyes and saw Amamikururi lying on his lap below, blinking at him. Tianhaijuli Yulai laughed. Look, I am Chi-Chi's sister again. This makes sense, right? Sakakihara held her face and put her down. The key is not this, it's what you said. What does eldest wife mean? It's just that in daily life, you have more rights to speak. You see, in Kyo, she always bullies me. Yesterday and the day before yesterday, she even tricked me into wearing something so shameful as a bunny girl. I didn't even want her to wear hers. It sounds like Li Yulai is quite resentful. The thing is correct, but why does it sound so awkward? Didn't you let yourself love Chi-Chi just now? There is no conflict, Tianhaijuli Yulai emphasized. Lejun can love Kyo, but when Kyo is disobedient and bullies me, Lejun will help me. For example, let her wear bunny girl clothes. Li Yulai, how obsessed are you with wearing bunny girl clothes? Ahem. If Chi-Chi really bullies Li Yulai, it goes without saying that I will help you. That's good. Ho brother, I heard it. You are going to join forces with Sister Li Yulai to deal with Sister Kyo, right? Be careful of me complaining. Suzu Sakakihara suddenly poked her head out. It was night at this time, and the sky was relatively dark. She lit up. The screen of the mobile phone was shining up from her chin, and it looked like it was haunted. Don't talk nonsense. Raku Sakakihara hugged Amamikururi, who sat up, and shook hands with her, cheek to cheek affectionately. I'm here to uphold justice. Seeing the two people showing affection, Sakakihara Suzu was so tired that she said, that's nice to say, we must bully Sister Kyo together. Hey. Sister Kyo and Zyuki are back. She saw the figures appearing behind them and immediately waved to them. Tianhai's Higsu and Tianhai Kaimingyu, who bought some barbecue, immediately walked over together. Amamai Nanamajetsu saw her sister sitting next to Sakakibara Raku at a glance. Did you talk about something just now? Sakakihara Suzu raised her hand. I know. Sakakibara grabbed her by the hand, covered her mouth, smiled and said to Amamai Nanamai Minjayu, who was looking over, nothing's wrong. It's just that Liulai wants me to be nice to you in Kyoto, don't always think about work. Everyone sat together on the picnic blanket, and Tianhai Kaimingyu and Tianhai's Higsu began to distribute barbecues to everyone. Sister still understands. After the barbecue was distributed, Amamai no Yuki saw Amamai Kuruuri leaning against Sakakibara Raku, and she took the initiative to look away and remain silent. Sakakibara Raku noticed this and originally wanted to say something, but at this time Amamai Kuruuri took the initiative to pull Amamai Yuki to sit on the other side of Sakakibara Raku, and also hinted Sakakibara Raku to quickly take the sandwich she made and give a piece to Yuki. In fact, Ruri didn't need to take the initiative to remind him of this. Sakakihara Raku would do the same. I agreed to accompany Yuki to watch the fireworks and visit the temple fair, but because of the incident with Kyo, I didn't take good care of her. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Sister Liulai. Don't worry, give this to Yuki. Sakakihara Raku said, taking out a small white cat from behind, and took out a small yellow cat's hairpin, and asked her to stretch out her hand to hold it. Happy. It looks good. I have good taste, brother, Suzu. Sakakihara immediately agreed. After taking a serious look at the hairpin, Amamai's Higsu put it on herself and pinned it to the side of her hair. I just went to the temple fair with Chi-Chi to buy these. I gave you the white one, and the other one was picked out for you by Chi-Chi. Sister Chi Mingyu Tianhai Ji Shueduo looked at Tianhai Chi Minjayo and said softly, thank you. No, besides, Yuki, you don't have to pay too much attention to my affairs. I'm always only angry with someone. Yet Tianhai's Higsu nodded. Although the current relationship between the two seems to be a bit awkward, it can also be seen that it is developing in a good direction. Oh. Let's not talk about what happened before, and get ready to watch the second round of fireworks. How about we all chat for a while? Let's start with Sister Liulai's bunny girl. Tianhai Liulai became dissatisfied. Change it? With a Ling acting as a lubricant of enthusiasm in front of everyone, within a short time everyone became warm and started chatting. Sakakibara smiled and felt very happy when he saw the chatting in front of him. They all smile, they all care about each other and take care of each other. Soon, the second round of fireworks came. Everyone ate sandwiches and barbecue together, sighing at the splendid fireworks blooming in the night as passers-by and tourists shouted wow. Sakakibara looked back at everyone. Ruri, Kyo, Suzu, and Zyuki. Their eyes all reflected the light of the fireworks. Incomparably warm and bright. Their cheeks, their expressions, their characters have never been clearer. We have experienced so much together, we have laughed and cried together. Perhaps, this is the true meaning of everyone gathering together to watch this fireworks display this summer. Brother, look. It's so big. What a big firework. The whole sky is covered with it. I know, don't be so rough all the time and still be an idol. This is not the first time Yuki has seen such big fireworks. Are they good? Beautiful, so big. Asterisk. Continued from chapter 454.5. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 463. Sakakibara opened his eyes and saw Nanamai looking down at him with an unhappy expression. At the same time, he also clamped his talking mouth. Good morning, Miss July 2. The sound of being squeezed is a little subtle, but fortunately it can be heard clearly. The sky was hazy, and Sakaki Hararaku could clearly see the extremely unhappy face of Amami Nanami, with the word question written on it. Tell me, what was your last confession last night? Stern words. Sakaki Hararaku's face was pinched to the left by the girl, and he was a little confused. July said yesterday. Last night? Didn't he remember that everyone watched the fireworks display together last night? Everyone is very happy, but why is July looking like this now? Raku Sakakibara remembered that Ruri said something to him last night, and then he invited Nanami and Ruri Amami to go to a love hotel together. Then the room was opened. And then? Only then did Raku Sakakihara realize what Kia meant by where is the explanation. He quickly took away Tianhaichi Minjio's hand holding his cheek and asked, "What's wrong?" The time was miscalculated. Tianhaichi Minjio covered her forehead in great distress. Last night was a dangerous period, not a safe period. Do you understand what I mean? It is not a safe period but a dangerous period. After mumbling something and understanding what it was, Sakakihara sat up instantly. Don't tell me you're pregnant. Asterisk. The sky is blue and the sun is warm. But under the blue sky, in the living room of her home, Suzu Sakakihara, who was eating breakfast bread, saw three strange people. Where did you go last night? No one was around so early in the morning. Let me check the time. Suzu Sakakihara took out her phone from her overalls, glanced at the screen and continued, it's 10 o'clock. You just went home. Oh, hey, what were you doing at night? Tianhai Jululi, Tianhaichi Minjio, Sakaki Hararaku. The three of them were silent about this. Amami no Yuki sat quietly next to Sakakibara Suzu, quietly eating the convenient breakfast prepared for her by Sakakibara Suzu. This atmosphere. Seeing that something was wrong, Sakakihara Suzu lowered her voice and whispered, "You three, didn't you go on a secret date with Yuki last night behind my back?" Still no response. Hey. Let's talk. In the end, Tianhai Yuli, who still had his head lowered, spoke first. Ling Chen, aren't you going to work today? Isn't your work schedule very full recently? Sakakibara Suzu took out her phone, held the screen and swept it in front of the three people, then pointed at a line of text under the time, and said confidently. Today is Saturday. By the way, Sister Liuli and Sister Kyo, why are you so silent? Are you arguing with my brother again? Tianhai Juliuli lowered his gaze again. It's not a quarrel, but something else. There was another moment of silence. Something weird. Sakakihara Suzu could tell that there was something fishy, and she could probably deduce that the three of them went out to play without telling her last night. She could also guess where they would sleep after playing. Although I really want to say that these three guys are very hateful. But to be honest, she couldn't get involved in this kind of thing. Sakakihara Suzu quietly shifted her gaze to the face of her brother who was obviously anxious, and called him tentatively, "Brother." Sakakihara Raku didn't reply, he just crossed his hands in front of him and shook his legs even more. He lowered his head and frowned, as if he was thinking about something anxiously. Sakakibara Suzu couldn't tell what was going on with them at all. Just when she was about to continue asking, Amami Kuruori spoke in a clear voice. Lejun actually doesn't have to worry so much, right? Lejun, think about it, it takes 1 to 2 weeks from the beginning to the time when pregnancy can be detected. This is only the second day. It's not that easy. Sakakihara Suzu opened her jaw as she stumbled, "Pregnant? Who is pregnant?" Sister Liuli, you. No one answered her question. Sakakibara continued to meditate, and then looked at Amami Nanamijetsu who was resting quietly with her eyes closed. The girl's eyes are closed and she is so beautiful. Sakakibara felt a little sorry for her. How old is July? And this is not the point. The point is that I am pregnant now. So what should I do with my life and career in July, or in the next year? Although you can get married earlier in Japan, not many people will become parents when they reach adulthood. Recalling the question just now, Sakakibara Raku whispered to Tenkai Nanamayu. What is the probability of pregnancy in a situation like yesterday? Tianhai Kaiminyu breathed calmly. In a normal menstrual cycle, ovulation occurs about 14 days before the next menstrual period. I was there last night. The probability of this time is more than 85%. Snapped. Sakakibara slapped him directly in the face. Other people's young couples have to reckon with this kind of life. By chance, they accidentally hit the muzzle of a gun? Is it such a coincidence? What about emergency contraceptive pills? Tianhai Kaiminyu still closed her eyes and explained calmly, emergency contraceptive pills only delay the ovulation time. If it has already passed, then taking it will have basically no effect. But I took it, just in case. Sakakibara Suzu also opened her mouth wide and stopped eating the bread. Her eyes flickered back and forth on the faces of her brother and Amamai Nanamai. I'm going to be an ant. Tianhai Juli Yulai put his hands between his legs, looked up at a few people with his sky blue eyes, and added in a low voice. That's just that under normal circumstances, the number of lejun is enough to fill a small cup. Stop talking. Sakakibara quickly stretched out his hand to stop Juliuli from talking about this matter. He looked at the 7 bright moons in the sky and sea again. What are your thoughts in July? If so, should you abort it or give birth to it? It's impossible to get rid of it anyway, Tianhai Kaiminyu answered with almost no hesitation. This was so decisive that everyone could tell that there was absolutely no way she would agree to this condition. What about your life in July? Tianhai Kaiminyu was very calm. Let's not say whether it will happen or not, although there is a high probability that it will happen, but if it really happens, then just continue walking as you should. Tianhai Juli Yulai, then if we really want to have a baby, we will stay at home to raise the baby in July. Yet Tianhai Kaiminyu nodded lightly. I don't know why, Amamai Kuruori suddenly looked towards Sakakibara Raku. Luli also wants to get pregnant. Tianhai Juli Yulai blushed instantly. What are you talking about? Lejun, be more serious. I mean, if July really happens, then Lejun should be more serious. He can't go home for a long time like before July's behavior. Li Yulai, you are quite nice to your sister. Raku Sakakihara couldn't bear the complaints in his heart, but complaints were complaints. If July is really pregnant with her own child. Alas, even though we have been born in 2 lifetimes, our age plus 1 can add up to a few dozen years. But I really haven't thought about becoming a father, because I died at this age in my previous life. I was still a young man, how could I have such thoughts? In my impression, fathers are all men over 30 years old. Am I a good father? Cough cough cough. Sakakibara Suzu cleared her throat and motioned for everyone to look at her. Everyone, you don't have to be so anxious. My brother and sister Kyo are so rich and they are from the Tianhai family. It's okay if they don't study. No one can say anything. What are you afraid of? Besides, if brother and sister Kyo don't want to take care of the child, you can leave it to me. I'm sure to take care of the baby in the best way. Let him fall in love with me as my aunt. Go Raku Sakakihara waved his hands repeatedly. Why are you here to join in the fun, Suzu? Do you want me to take Tenten with you to eat fried skewers? Hey. I'm just giving you some advice, okay? I'm also doing it for your own good. What do Yuki think? What? Tianhai's Higsu heard someone calling him. Brother, what would you think if Sister Kyo had a baby? Amami Nazuki quietly looked at Sakakibara Raku and Amami Nanamajetsu and said, "Teach him how to play the guitar." All right. Sakakihara Suzu thought it was quite a beautiful scene when Yuki taught guitar to her brother's children. Raku Sakakihara cleared his throat and motioned for everyone to look at him. "This matter has not yet been decided. In a few days, my uncle and mother will come back from traveling, so everyone can continue to live as normal, okay? Ling will continue to go to work when he should. Ji Shui wants to play the guitar. I will go with Sister Liuli to play basketball, and in July as well, but I will move less. It's time to disband." Asterisk. Well. Ever since she knew that there was a 90% chance that she would be pregnant in July, Sakakihara Raku felt a little absent-minded. "I fell into a trance several times during meetings at work." It was the county secretary Dun calling him young master to remind him that Sakakibara managed to regain consciousness. After handling the affairs, Sakakibara checked the contract with the previous toy factory, signed his name and stamped the seal of the 7-9 Foundation. With nothing to do, I began to think about how I would explain this matter to my mother and uncle when they came back in a few days. When my uncle heard that he had impregnated his precious daughter, he was afraid that some big-eared men would come down, right? I also need to talk to them about Zhigzhu. After all, that was the current situation that the old man knew about, so there was no way he could not tell his uncle. It's a bit overwhelming to think about all the things that will happen around me in the next few days and must be solved. But when he turned on his phone and saw the photo on the screen wallpaper taken by everyone during a motorcycle trip, Sakakibara couldn't help but feel emotional. In the photo of 5 people, his face bumped into Amami Nanamajetsu's arms, Amami Kuruori covered her mouth and frowned, Sakakibara Suzu clenched her fists and became angry, and Amami Nazuki's little face was puzzled. This is such a harmonious photo of 5 people at the foot of Mount Fuji. The July in the photo is about to become a mother in the blink of an eye. Time flies so fast. Fleeting. No. Sakakihara Raku realized that it had not even been a year since the motorcycle trip. What was he missing? Compared to when this photo was taken, everyone has not changed much. But, to be honest, seeing Kyo hugging him in the photo, Sakakihara Raku will still inevitably think of Kyo's feelings towards him. "Last night I just bought a small gift at the temple fair, a bracelet of cartoon sharks for her, and she was very satisfied. Chi-Chi is obviously such an excellent girl, but she is so weak and helpless when it comes to her feelings. So much so that she would regard things that ordinary girls wouldn't care about at all as so important." Thinking of these emotions, Sakakibara's fingers touched the face of the cold-faced Amami Nanamajetsu who was hugging him in the screen wallpaper. The more I looked at her, the more I felt that her facial features were beautiful and tight. She has bright lips, a full nose, cheeks with clear and smooth lines that look like handicrafts, and her sky-blue eyes that barely show emotion. Even though July is wearing a cold-proof jacket in the photo, Sakakihara Raku still thinks she is extremely cute in the photo. Looking at her in the photo, I miss her inexplicably. He even worried that she would suddenly disappear from his side, fearing that she would disappear. This is really strange. Otherwise, why don't you go home early today? All matters in the foundation will be handed over to Jun Saidun first, and he will help take care of it. When he returns home, he will buy something for Kyo. I usually don't pay enough attention to her, and I even had a quarrel a while ago. Didn't I always make up for the vacancy in her heart? Yep. That's it." Just as he said, Sakakibara immediately recruited Gunji Dun into the office. After explaining some things in the company, he was about to leave. "But, young master, didn't you say there will be a meeting this afternoon?" Sakakibara put on the suit jacket that was hung on the back of the chair. "Meeting? Let's change it to tomorrow. Anyway, not long after I came here, those guys treated me as the eldest son, so I will be the eldest son for a time, that's it capricious. The master will be angry if he knows that you do this, young master. He gets angry when he gets angry. How many things does he get angry at me for? It's okay. Although the old man is very stubborn and fierce, he is still good to his family. Sakakibara packed up his things, walked out of his desk, and patted Gunji-dun on the shoulder. Okay, I'll leave the foundation to you for the time being. I'll come back tomorrow. After simply explaining the matter, Sakakibara walked out of the office door and left work early. Walking out of the office building, the summer sun immediately stung my eyes. Sakakibara checked the time on this commercial street, and after confirming that it was only 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he walked to the large supermarket in the large comprehensive commercial circle. Pushing a cart, Sakakibara took the first step to go to the potato chip section and picked up a few packs of July's favorite potato chips. But after getting half of it, he hesitated. These potato chips have a lot of oil, wouldn't they be bad for the children? Before this idea came to mind, Sakakibara smiled to himself. What are you thinking about? Regarding the pregnancy in July, I haven't said anything about it yet, so there are so many things to consider about what to do. However, considering that too much oil seemed to be bad for pregnant women and children, Sakakibara put a few bags of potato chips back. Although he said he didn't care, when choosing dishes, Sakakibara went to the internet to check what should pregnant women eat. Then pick up some spinach, carrots, tomatoes, pumpkins, and other foods rich in vitamins and dietary fiber. Ah, right. He still remembers that he accidentally saw a pregnant woman who only ate vegetarian food during pregnancy. As a result, the child was 8 years old and was only 1.2 meters tall. So I'm going to pick some meat and go back. As for what to buy. Chicken, duck, pork, beef. Come and order them all. It's been a long time since I've cooked. Can't the dinner be more generous? If you don't cook more than 10 dishes, how can you prove that you care about July? That is it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 464. After buying large and small bags of snacks, vegetables, and meat in the supermarket, it is impossible to take the train home. Carrying 4 large plastic bags, I hailed a taxi on the roadside and went home. The drive was 7 kilometers, and it took 14 minutes to get to the apartment downstairs, which cost 3,200 yen. After arriving at the door of his house, Raku Sakakihara did not ring the doorbell to remind everyone that he was back. Instead, he took the key and unlocked the door and quietly went in. Put on your slippers and put the ingredients for today's cooking in the kitchen. There was no one in the living room, so Raku Sakakibara went to everyone's bedroom and looked around. It was Suzu who was at work, and Ruri and Zyuki didn't seem to be at home. So, July is not here either? Sakakibara Raku was actually a little disappointed at this time. The reason for the disappointment was that this afternoon, she wanted to meet Kyo for no reason. It was precisely because of this that she turned down the matter there in advance. But when she returned home, she was not at home, and the feeling of longing could not be felt. Satisfied. The potato chips I bought in my hand were too hard to give to her right away. With this feeling of regret, Sakakibara looked up and saw the half-open bedroom door of Kyo's room next to Liulai. Sunlight leaked through the cracks in the door, and a little wind blew into the corridor. Chi-Chi is usually a person who pays great attention to details. If she goes out, not only will the windows be closed and the curtains will be drawn, but even the electrical appliances will be unplugged. So, Sakakibara approached slowly and came to Chiu's bedroom door. he put his hand on the door handle and quietly pushed it in. Wearing gold-rimmed glasses and holding a small library book, a girl sitting quietly by the bed appeared in front of her. Flax-colored hair, bright and clear eyes, and delicate three-dimensional cheeks like snow-white jade. The gauze curtain swayed in front of the window, and the girl sat quietly beside the bed, her long hair flowing with a faint golden light, falling lightly on her shoulders. Every strand of hair seems to have been carefully outlined by an artist, natural and clear. I used to think July was very beautiful, but now I'm used to it, it still looks good. Finding that she was flipping through the book there and still not seeing him, Sakakihara smiled and pushed the door open. Tian Hikaiminyu noticed him at this time, turned her head while holding the book, and adjusted the rims of her glasses. Come back now. As soon as he heard the cold voice and saw her close in front of him, Sakakihara Raku felt a lot more at ease in his heart. July. Seeing someone approaching, Tian Hikaiminyu retracted her gaze decisively, leaving her left hand free to block his face. Tian Hikaiminyu did not look at him, but still focused on the novel, flipping the pages with her thumbs. I wonder if you know a proverb, being courteous for nothing is a traitor or a thief. I miss you. Sakakihara suddenly caught a glimpse of the little shark bracelet he gave her last night on her wrist. Miss me? You didn't even think of missing me a month ago. Why, did you suddenly come back today? Sakakihara Raku doesn't care about her coldness, or that's just how it is in July. As long as she comes into contact with her at the beginning, she will seem a little resistant. This is due to her character. Don't you see what I brought back for you? Sakakihara Raku said, taking out the plastic bag hidden behind his back, then sat down next to the girl, and began to pick out the contents. 6 or 7 large bags of potato chips, walnuts and cashews, yogurt, rice cakes, vegetable sticks, low-salt seaweed. There are also 2 boxes of strawberries. Tian Hikaiminyu watched him pick out items one by one from the plastic bag, and for each item he picked out, he would explain at length why he bought it. For example, walnuts, cashews, etc. are high in protein, as well as healthy fats and fiber. Low-fat and fat-free yogurt are rich in protein and calcium, which are good for your bones. Vegetable sticks have vitamins, low-salt seaweed has minerals. Snack. Yes, I bought them all for you. You stay at home every day in July, and you eat too little. How can this be okay? By the way, didn't you have low blood sugar last time you ran, and you also had too much sugar? Even if you like potato chips, you have to eat less of them, as they contain a lot of fat. Tian Hikaiminyu looked at his enthusiasm in picking out the things he bought and introducing them to her, and didn't know what to say. You got off work early just to buy these things and go home. Otherwise. You bought them all for me. Otherwise. While Sakakibara asked, he was also observing Kyo's expression on her face. Tian Hikaiminyu didn't know why this man suddenly went crazy, but the way he looked at her was indeed a little different from the past. Should I praise him, or should I say that he only knows how to care about me so enthusiastically now? July. Don't say nothing in July. Tian Hikaiminyu turned her face to the side and said, I really don't know why you bought these things. Seeing her actively avoiding his gaze, Sakakihara laughed instead, put down the things in his hands, and approached her. Ahem. Of course it's to care about you. Tian Hikaiminyu sighed, why haven't I seen you so attentive before? After all, it's not because you know that there is a high probability that I will be pregnant. Absolutely not. You think I believe that? Sakakihara felt that he was treating her badly. It was good at first, but ever since she and Liuli started arguing, it seemed that there was no longer the sweet feeling between the two of them before. To be honest, I really want to be nice to Chi-Chi now. On the one hand, she suffered so many emotional losses, and on the other hand, even if she said the most exaggerated words to her, she still pretended to be herself. As soon as she heard that she was going to disappear, she immediately ran to England to find herself. She doesn't pursue the wrong things she did, and she doesn't care about things that make her sad. She just asks that she be treated a little better in the future. But as a result, because they had just had a quarrel, there was still a lot of bad blood between the two of them after returning from the UK. It was not until last night that my relationship with her went back a little bit. It's July. Just give her a bracelet and she will be secretly happy for most of the night. Still wearing it till now. She has a bit of a venomous tongue, and she always likes to be arrogant. But her kindness to others, which one is not touching? Sakakibara tried to get closer to her, stretched out his hand, and put his palm on her hand. Tian Haikaiminyu saw his movements, but she did not take the initiative to push his hand away. Instead, she turned her eyes and looked at him beside her through her gold-rimmed glasses and said, "Do you want to say sorry to me again? Have you guessed all this in July? Because someone is destined to be a fool. First of all, I'm definitely not as bad as you said. But if you like idiots in July, then being an idiot seems pretty good." Tian Haikaiminyu suddenly remained silent for a long time. "What's wrong?" Sakakibara asked quickly. Unexpectedly, Tian Haikaiminyu showed a look of disgust. Sakakihara was even more puzzled. "I really don't know where I learned this disgusting love talk. I have only one comment on it. Not bad. Nausea." Sakakibara was greatly shocked, but he had to be thick-skinned, so he quickly took Amami Nanami's hand and kept talking coaxing words in her ear. After dating Chi-Chi for so long, he must have learned some tricks. What Chi-Chi likes most in dating is someone who can talk to her about the things she likes and care about herself. Sakakihara started chatting with her around these 2 points. Although the knowledge reserve about novels is not enough, it would be good if Kyo expresses her agreement when she says something. If possible, she can also give her own opinions appropriately. She is also happy to listen to this and give her own opinions. Some reviews. Chi-Chi still has a good way of evaluating things. At least the truth and logic she expressed, Sakakibara couldn't find anything to refute. From east to west, from novels to life. I chatted with Kyo for about 2 hours. From the initial hand-holding, Sakakibara was now able to hold her waist. "Talk to me so much. Just because you want to get close to me. I've said it before, I miss you in July," Sakakihara explained, while using his hand around her thin waist, he slipped into the gap between her fingers. Palm to palm, fingertips to fingertips. Closely attached. What's the reason? The reason is actually very simple. I've been thinking about the possibility that you might be pregnant all day today. I was restless at work, and when I was sitting in the office looking through documents, I habitually took out my phone to take a look. I saw it. That photo from our motorcycle trip. Yes, the one in July when you kicked a rock and made me hit it in your arms. When Sakakihara Raku said this, he paused. In Chi-Chi, you were holding me and your eyes were looking at me. Although you didn't have any expression, you could still tell that you were very happy in Chi-Chi. The 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea, so what? Looking at these pictures, I can feel your love for me. And because of this, I think of you more and more. I want you to confess your love to me in the past 7 months. You braved the heavy snow to come to me. You talked to me again and again. When I thought about this, I felt that the person holding me in this photo was really important. And suddenly I felt worried, what should I do if she suddenly disappears? At this time, I was eager to see you in Kyoto. I wanted to go back to see you, so I came back. After Sakakibara finished speaking, he made a gesture of spreading his arms in front of her. Tian Haikaiminyu felt that he was very mature when he listened to what she said just now, and he was very mature when he told stories, but only this action of deliberately trying to make herself happy looked particularly childish. 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 It's good to be childish. No one likes to keep a straight face every day and not smile at all. Am I not? That's because of your own personality in Kyo, but because of this, you need someone to smile in front of you and make you happy in Kyo. Otherwise, in Kyo, look at how you were used to being alone before. Have you been gloomy all day? As he spoke, Sakakihara laughed again in front of the girl. Tian Haikimingyu saw his smiling face and knew that this was a smile he deliberately showed to make himself laugh. It's obviously not funny, but seeing him acting weird in front of me makes me laugh. Tian Haikimingyu's expression did not tense up, she covered her mouth and chuckled. Ah! Ha ha! Chi, look, are you laughing? I really don't know where you come from with so much talk. This is called speaking out of emotion. Raku Sakakibara smiled rarely when he saw Nanami Minjio Amamai, and he was sincerely happy. He grabbed a small shark doll that Nanamijio put next to his pillow, and hid his face behind it, hiding half of his face from facing the girl next to him. Smile. How about it, do you think it's nice to have me around? At least there is someone who will deliberately make you happy. Tian Haikimingyu didn't know how to describe her mood, nor how to describe his deliberately funny look around her. But the truth is just as he said. It makes my heart warm. Like a fool. Idiots can make you laugh, right? It took Tian Haikimingyu a long time to collect her emotions and take a deep breath to calm down. But when she turned her head, she saw him holding his shark doll and tilting his head to smile at himself. July. He was also shouting endearing names in a funny tone. Tian Haikimingyu snatched the shark doll from his hand, placed it squarely on her lap, and stared at it silently. I'm very insecure. I know. While Sakakibara spoke, he put his hand on the girl's shoulder and pulled her into his arms. This time, Chi was not as arrogant and tough-tongued as before. Actually, I was very surprised that Chi could say this to me. Tian Haikimingyu turned the shark doll over and turned the happy expression towards herself. I also know that there is no safety reason. In the past, I didn't know if I could find you again. After all, when I ran over to find you when I was 6 years old, you and your grandma had already moved, and no one around knew that you were there. Where? But I still can't let go of my desire to see you again. I really want to eat the fried rice you made again. I really want you to take me and Ling out to play together. I really want you to take me to the forest I have never seen before. Look at the insects inside, tell me what they are, and tell me a nice story. My sister practices piano every day, my father only knows how to work, and my mother puts all her energy on my sister. I have nothing to do by myself. I can only daydream about the next time I meet you. I will tell you that I have learned a lot of knowledge and then listen to it you tell many, many stories. Brother, you also know the situation. This feeling has lasted for more than 10 years. It has not been relieved at all. I have been to your place several times to find out where grandma has moved. Maybe she knows the news about you, but it's all in vain. Sakakibara Raku saw that when Amamai Nanamijetsu was saying this, her little finger kept playing with the smiling face of the shark doll. Helpless, empty, lost. These things should be the emotions that have been with Kyo and grown up with her. After hearing what she said, Sakakibara took the initiative to pull her into his arms. Although it was not so reliable now, it was still a place where she could express her feelings. Tian Haikimingyu did not refuse or be arrogant this time. She even turned over and placed her face quietly on his chest. Although you, bastard, are not that reliable to lean against, it is quite comfortable. Sakakibara laughed, hugged her in his arms, and held her tighter. It's comfortable to say it's comfortable, there are so many words. Hold me a little longer, I'm afraid you'll run away. It's what I asked for. Take off your clothes. What? I want it. So straightforward? It's so straightforward. But this time, please be gentle and don't want to play those weird things. Play basketball with Zyuki while my sister is still here. Okay. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 465. Well. Sigh. As for why he sighed, Sakakibara thought it had to start when he finished work early the day before yesterday, then went home to buy things to visit July. From that day on, she looked for me no less than 6 times in July. We played games together 6 times. Well. Sakakibara's face was full of exhaustion, and he looked like he was hopeless. July, I said. Talk less. Can't there be some room for negotiation? For example, can we reduce the time a little bit? No, Tianhai Kaimingyu answered decisively. How could this be possible? Sakakibara's originally high-pitched voice immediately became weak. You made it clear just the day before yesterday that you wanted to stay with me for a little longer. Why did you regret it now? I saw Kakihara was about to cry but had no tears. You guys haven't exercised recently, are you going to die? It's not that I can't do it anymore. It's you and Kyo. I shouldn't have let Aling call you to play basketball. In that case, how about I practice with you? Tianhai Kaimingyu frowned beautifully. Practice? Practice what? Sakakihara Raku felt that July was really beautiful from this perspective, especially when her long flaxen hair was spread behind her shoulders, but he didn't expect that now he couldn't even compare to July in the game. Skills, Tianhai Chi Minjiu answered simply and clearly, glancing down, now that you can't even resist me, how can you compete with your sister in the future? Let alone all of us together. Sakakihara Raku obviously wanted to explain something. Do you understand now? I am here to help you adapt to confronting your sister in advance, otherwise sooner or later you will be finished. Luli, are you good at playing games? What you think? Sakakibara was silent. But. Okay. Tianhai Kaimingyu adjusted her sitting position and glanced down. Okay, I didn't ask you to move, just lie down. Someone was silent for a while, then turned to look at the girl with an otherworldly and slender temperament. Then. How long will we play? Half an hour. Half an hour. Sakakibara was completely speechless and chose to lie down on the bed. He took the pillow from July's bed and covered his face, desperately preparing to accept the ruthless torture for the next half hour. Tianhai Julie Yuli's room. Colorful game scenes were displayed on the TV. Tianhai's Higsu sat quietly next to Tianhai Julie Yuli, who was focused on playing games. In her sight, Sister Li Yuli's face was reflected by the flickering screen of the game. Sister Li Yuli. Why has Li been staying with Xiaoqi recently? Tianhai Julie Yuli frowned because of the surge in enemies in the game. Your sister Kyo is very likely to be pregnant. He should stay with her more. Then why do you have to close the door every time? The character's death scene appeared on the TV screen. Tianhai Julie Yuli suddenly put down the controller and fell silent. Well. Tianhai Julie Yuli really wanted to sigh. What makes people sigh is not only the recent relationship between the two of them, but also another sour question: if they really have a child, can Lejun care so much about Kyo? These 2 days were spent buying snacks, making special dishes, and spending the whole day with me. On the day of the fireworks display, didn't Lejun agree to let herself be the eldest wife? If I really get pregnant this July, is it still possible for me? The key is that he took the initiative to ask Lejun and Kyo to go together that night. It's your own cause. It's so depressing. Sister Li Yuli, Sister Li Yulai Tian Hai's Hixu pulled Tian Hai Juli Yulai's sleeves. Ah, ah, I, I'm here. Tian Hai Juli Yulai was stunned for a long time, then turned around and smiled. Why did Sister Li Yulai suddenly become dazed? Tian Hai Juli Yulai touched her head and said, "It's okay, I'm just thinking about some issues." Is Sister Chiu getting pregnant? Tian Hai's Hixu blinked. Yeah, indeed this is it. Sister Li Yulai looks very concerned. Of course, how could you not care? That is a child, a life, the most important thing. Tian Hai Juli Yulai sighed helplessly. She tried her best to ignore the mess. By the way, I haven't asked Yuki what she thinks about the pregnancy in July. Does Yuki have any thoughts if she really has a baby in July? It's good to be born. Why? Ellie will definitely take care of it, don't worry. Hard to say. Yuki has always had absolute trust in Lejun, but even if she completely trusts Lejun, she doesn't think he can be a good father now. And the child is really coming out. What will the child call me? Wait, I and Chi-Chi are twins, their DNA is the same. Therefore, Kyo and Lejun's children can also identify themselves as their mothers based on blood. Doesn't that mean the child wants to call himself eldest mother? No, July is the mother who gave birth to that child. Logically speaking, July is his eldest mother. But I am Chi's sister, so it seems right for the child to call me eldest mother. Moreover, Lejun said to himself personally that she was his eldest wife. Ding dong. Thinking of this in a mess, the doorbell rang suddenly. Ling went home, Tian Hai's Hixu said. Should be. Tian Hai Juli Yulai told Tian Hai's Hixu, I'll drive it, got up and walked out of the bedroom. The walk was going well, but when she passed by her aunt and father's master bedroom, Tian Hai Juli Yulai paused, her cheeks turned slightly red, and she muttered. I don't even want to call you for dinner. Tian Hai Juli Yulai was still a little angry as she was thinking about some things in her head. Don't think about this anymore. Tian Hai Juli Yulai put on outdoor shoes, walked to the door, and opened the door. Bell. Originally, he wanted to call out Sakakibara Suzu's name, but Amamai Kuruori froze when he saw the person coming. The person who appeared in front of me was none other than my aunt and father who had just returned from traveling around the world. Dad? There's also Aunt Mai. Tian Hai Juli Yulai kept blinking to make sure he didn't see it wrong. Luli. Hearing the voice of the person in front of her asking, Tian Hai Juli Yulai was convinced that her aunt and father had really returned home. She stumbled and replied. It's me. Miwa Amamai, who was wearing a sun hat, smiled at the girl standing at the door. At first glance, I thought it was July. I haven't seen you for so long that I almost didn't recognize you. Tian Hai Juli Yulai was also a little unrecognizable. Her aunt was wearing a loose white dress with soft fabric and a refreshing holiday feel. The hem of the skirt flutters gently, accompanied by the breeze and a faint fragrance. The smile is like sunshine, warm and bright. Although she had been traveling for several months, there was no trace of fatigue in her expression. She clearly had a great time on the trip. The father beside the aunt was wearing a light blue short shirt, and his skin tone was slightly darker. It was speculated that he had gone to the beach. Compared with the serious expression before, his expression was much gentler and gentler. My father was still carrying large and small bags of things. Tian Hai Juli Yulai took a closer look and saw that they seemed to be some expensive clothes, plus some foreign specialty snacks. It looks delicious. No, that's not right. What do you think these foods are for? Why did my aunt and father come back today? Not the day after tomorrow. Amamai Miwa probably noticed her stepdaughter's doubts, and said with a gentle smile. I originally planned to stay in New Zealand for 2 more days, but Maid Nori said it wouldn't be good if his work was postponed further. After all, his office wanted him to keep an eye on it, and he had enough fun outside, so he decided go home early. Having said this, Amamai Miwa deliberately stopped and touched Amamai Shigenori next to her with her elbow. Then, she put her hand in front of her mouth and said seriously, "Of course, it's also because Maid Nori missed you." He said he hadn't seen his daughters for a long time, so he wanted to come back early. Mention. Come back early? It would be a bad thing to come back early. Tianhai Juliulai's eyes kept scanning the faces of his parents, and his mouth opened wide, so that's how it is. Tianhai me, he said, then smiled, and picked up a lot of things from the side. Nyo, these are the gifts your dad and I picked out for you, Kyo, Liulai, Ling, and Zhigzhu. There are really too many things. Originally, I asked Ale to come downstairs to help, but Ale thanks for helping me. You, Kyo and Zhigzhu will definitely come too. Maid Nori doesn't want to trouble you, so he just put everything in the car up first to save trouble. Tianhai Madayan glanced towards the back room and saw only Tianhai Juliulai at the entrance. You are the only one at home with Juliulai. No, Zhigzhu is here too. Suzuki is at work, Shimonori Amamai asked. Yeah, but it's almost time to get off work. Tianhai Mai, he said with a smile, then let everyone come out and gather together. I haven't seen you for a long time. Tianhai Juliulai pretended to be calm. In fact, my heart is already turbulent. What to do about this? Stepmom and dad came home early. Still an unannounced surprise in advance. Tianhai Juliulai despaired when he thought of those two people. Die, absolutely die. How? No, it's nothing. Thank you dad, thank you Auntie Mai. Tianhai Juliulai responded accordingly, quickly smiled and picked up the large and small gifts they bought for everyone, and warmly welcomed them into the house. Not long after entering the house, Tianhai's Zhigzhu walked out of Juliulai's bedroom barefoot. Elder brother. He has a small voice and is very well behaved. Tianhai Madayan met her eyes, a little surprised. Zhigzhu, do you still remember me? Tianhai's Zhigzhu nodded. What Tianhai Madayan saw at the same time was the big white flower on the back of his little sister's head. He remembered that the old man said that Zhigzhu had undergone another surgery, and that it should be a decoration made by Xiao Li to hide her ugliness. Well. Speaking of this little girl who had been admitted to the hospital again, Amamai Madayan felt powerless. Although she calls her brother, he is always not with her when she is sick and hospitalized. He can only talk to her for a few words on the phone. Of course, it's also because she doesn't remember herself many times and I don't know what to say to her. Their relationship with her is not as close as that of brother and sister, but they don't want to completely lose their identities. I usually want to take care of her more, but she doesn't rely on herself very much. In the final analysis, the relationship between brother and sister is estranged due to the age gap and various reasons. This distance is difficult to repair, and I can only try my best to satisfy her life and wishes as an elder brother. This was one of the reasons why he agreed to stay with his two daughters. It's just that I don't know what their relationship is now. I didn't get any news from my side. Xiao just remembered to tell him a few days ago that he had reconciled with Kyo. Due to international long-distance calls, I don't have time to elaborate on the specific details. Zhigzhu seems to be staying at home now. But her relationship with Kyo and Liulai, and her relationship with Xiao. This time I came back early to see how the two of them got along and what kind of development it had developed. Come here Zhigzhu, I bought you a lot of delicious food. Tianhai Mai, he saw Tianhai's Zhigzhu appear and immediately called her over and showed her the snacks he bought from different countries. Tianhai's Zhigzhu asked for snacks after hearing this, and immediately ran over from the corridor with bare feet. Amamai Maid Nori stood in the living room and looked around. The layout of this home has not changed much. Amamai Maid Nori looked away, but on the way he spotted his eldest daughter who looked a little shy. Juliulai, why are your face so red? Do you have a cold? Tianhaijuli smiled as hard as he could. Last night, I turned on the air conditioner and didn't cover myself with a quilt, so I caught a little bit of cold. Tianhaijuli has been shouting countless times in her heart, these two bastards should stop quickly. Still playing games. Why do you still talk a little strangely? Well, my head is a little dizzy. Chi Minjiao and Xiao Le are not at home, Tianhaimadayan asked his eldest daughter. In fact, the two of them were standing very close to the bedroom. Tianhaijuli's face seemed to be holding something back, but her posture was normal, not at home. Unexpectedly, Tianhai's Higsu heard these words. She naturally didn't know why Sister Liuli said that the two of them were not at home. Sister Kyo is happy at home. Yuki. The moment Tianhaijuli answered her father, she really wanted to go back and cover her little mouth. Sister Kyo. Amamai maid Nori didn't particularly pay attention to the name of the younger sister, but instead noticed the eldest daughter's expression that was obviously hiding something. He didn't ask, but instead glanced towards the bedroom corridor. Just at that moment, he heard something. Dad, Dad, Tianhaijuli suddenly spoke, blocking the front and smiling, do you and your aunt want to have tea? Tianhaimadayan couldn't tell what the eldest daughter was hiding, so he ignored her. He directly bypassed his eldest daughter and walked to the bedroom corridor. He seemed to hear some faint and subtle sounds of communication in the room. Tianhaimadayan frowned and stopped in front of the master bedroom door at home. His hand was placed on the door handle.